On camera.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Magnus Archives lecture.
Woo!
We're going to be here a while because we got a lot of shit to cover. I made a nice PowerPoint over here.
Thank you.
It's very nice on a computer that is not mine. So, anyway, yeah, let's get. I did not practice this, and I think that'll.
That's the Shocky style.
Yeah, exactly. We're just gonna vibe. You're already raising your hand.
What the fuck is the Magnus Archives?
Well,
That's a genuine question. I don't know.
I'm glad you asked. What is the Magnus Archives? The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill, and licensed under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 International License. They say that at the end of every episode. It's a meme. So the Magnus Archives is a podcast. It's a horror podcast. And we're going to get into exactly what it is over the course of this entire thing. Basically, the gist is, there's this place called the Magnus Institute. It deals with spooky shit. If you have spooky shit, you can go down to the Magnus Institute and they'll say, what happened to you? And you'll say, spooky shit, and they go, okay, come down here and tell us what happened. Yes, Tyler.
So is this like an SCP type beat?
Not really. Not really. It's kind of in the same vein.
Is it more like a detective agency?
Yes,
SCP,
kind
but
of.
they just tell them about it and that's it.
Yeah, they investigate what happened to you and try to figure out what it is.
So they're ghost hunters.
Kind of. Not really.
So
John
they don't
would be mad at
solve-
you if you said that.
So they don't solve your problems, you just tell them like, yeah, Bigfoot killed my wife and it sucks.
You're like, interesting.
For this podcast, because we're in the archives, yeah, pretty much. Like, the archives are where all the shit goes, where, like, when you're done with it, when they can't figure out anything more, when the case goes cold, they're just like, put it in
Or
the
when it's
archives, I don't
solved?
care. I don't know any time they've solved something. I don't know what this institute does, other than just, like, say, what happened to you? And you go, trauma, and they go, cool, have a nice day. So, anyway, so we're starting with season 1. The Magnus Archives is a workplace comedy. And we start with, this is John! He's our archivist. He's no nonsense. He's tired of this shit. He doesn't believe any of it, or does he? Dramatic pause. And for some reason, the fandom decided he looks like Bruno Madrigal. This is a podcast entirely audio experience. None of the characters have like nailed down. Someone's here.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey. We just started.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the Magnus Archives.
I'm so glad I made it for this one. Is there a place for me to sit?
That couch, right there.
See,
This
I
trash
don't-
pile is covering a pile of assorted, I don't know what that looks like.
I hate to have like my back towards you this whole time. But like, yeah, so this is John.
We're like 3 minutes into the lecture.
Yeah, this is John. He's our archivist. And basically what John's doing is he's got an issue because he's the brand new archivist. He just got this job. The person before him died
Oh.
mysteriously. And now he's left behind to clean up her mess because she left a mess of the archive, so he's trying to piece it all together. And occasionally he comes across something where when he tries to put it onto computer stuff, it corrupts. So he's like, alright, fuck it, we'll do it through cassette tapes. So every archive you see is a tape recording of John logging a statement into the situation, and that's what this is. Alright, so we got a fun cast of people who are also in the archives. This is the season 1 polyamory, and we love to see it. This is Martin. He loves tea and also poetry, and also John, but we don't know that yet, so we're just gonna move on. This is Sasha. She's cool. We like her. She was supposed to be the next archivist, but sexism. And this is Tim. He's canonically the hot one. Someone calls him the hot one. This is not a visual medium. It's fun. But he's the hot one. For some reason, we've all decided he wears Hawaiian shirts and
Because he's literally like overheating. He
Yeah,
needs to cool off a
exactly.
bit.
Exactly. So this is our fun archival staff. We love them. Here's some other important people.
Is that John Wood?
This is this is Elias Bouchard.
No,
I
it's
fucking
Elias
hate him.
Bouchard.
This is Elias Bouchard.
Is a capitalist?
Yes. He's basically the CEO of the institute. I don't know if they call it a CEO if it's an institute, but like he's a dick. I don't like him. I want to see him burn and die by the end of this.
Does he?
We're gonna get this. Don't spoil it.
You didn't say anything!
And then this over here is Gertrude. This was the first archivist we talked about. She's dead. She's gone. Oops. Sad. But she was also pretty badass. She was like a kind of kick-ass lady. So
Yeah.
we're gonna hear more about her later.
Uh-huh.
Continue.
Okay. Alright. So, John is cleaning up Gertrude's mess, and he's filing away statements, except some of them are a little funky and can only be recorded on classic tape recorders.
Oh.
And through those funky tapes, we meet some funky individuals!
Ooh, yeah.
Because basically, the thing that's hard about summarizing the Magnus Archives is, at first, it's not very connected. Like, they feel like little SCP situations where it's like different story, different random scary thing every time. So, they start to get more connected as the show goes on. But as for right now, we're just dealing with some funky dudes doing some funky stuff.
Funny guys.
So, here, we got some funky dudes.
Was Magnus Archives planned from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Magnus Archives was planned from the beginning, yes. So here we've got some funky dudes. We have Joshua Gillespie, who's the biggest Chad in the entire show. He's my favorite guy who went through shit. Basically, like, these people brought this weird people brought a giant coffin to his house. We're gonna talk more about that coffin later. And it said, "Do not open" on it. And the guy was like, "If you could like watch this for like 4 weeks, I'll give you $1,000." And he was like, "Okay." And then every single night he heard tapping on the inside of the coffin lid.
Oh.
And he was like, "That's weird, I don't want to open that." And then he found out he was sleepwalking towards the coffin to try and open it. So what he decided to do in a Chad maneuver was put the key in the icebox so the cold woke him up every time and he stopped himself. And when the guys came back to get the coffin, they were, quote, surprised to see him alive. And so they left with the coffin and Joshua survived and he's the biggest Chad in this entire podcast for doing so.
He would be the last one to be alive during the horror movie.
Absolutely. He's the coolest. We love Joshua.
He's the coolest because he put his key in an icebox and then put his hand in
You know that when I listened to that for the first time, I lost my shit. When I found out he froze the key, I was like,
Joshua
oh my god,
Gillespie!
he's gonna live! He's got it!
We never see him again, and I'm so upset about it. But he got away.
He was smart enough to not get involved in any more fucking SCP shit.
He would survive the horror movie. I love Joshua Gillespie, and he doesn't give him enough credit. So then we also have the Not Them, which is basically the invasion of the body snatchers. Basically, the thing that they do is they'll steal a person, and they'll make you think that they are the person. They'll look entirely different from the person that was there, but nobody realizes, except for a few people. A few people can see through it, and usually those people get killed. But, so, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, basically Not Them. A whole bunch of worms.
Yeah, it's worm time.
Yeah, by the way, there's gonna be some, like, gross shit in this, by the way. So, hopefully, y'all are cool with that. But yeah, a whole bunch of fucking worms. There's this thing where these worms go into you, and they stay there. And then for some reason, some dude had sex with one of the girls. And so he got worms and it just kept going. Basically, avoid the worm people is the idea. Don't have sex with them, you absolute idiot.
I already missed not having a whiteboard.
Hi.
All I heard was don't have sex with them, you absolute idiot.
Good advice for most of the time.
Yeah. We also have Hilltop Road. It's a funky little house. Weird shit happens there. Mostly spider related.
Oh shit, yeah.
We also have Julia and Trevor, the better version of Supernatural.
It's not hard.
It's not hard, but they still do it anyway. And they're two people. One of them's Trevor is a vampire hunter, and Julia's dad got a little bit fucked up by darkness. So they team up and they fight monsters now. Yeah.
I noticed the next one has a really long title.
Yeah, so we also have this guy called Jürgen Leitner. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he's the world's most fucked up librarian.
Oh, darling.
He's the world's most fucked up librarian. He, for reasons we don't really understand, decided, what if I got all the really fucked up supernatural books in the world and put them in one place? That's my library. I'm Jürgen Leitner, and I'm making a library full of fucked up books.
I mean, I would want to go to that library.
No, you don't. You don't. Every time a statement pops up with a book and it's another fucking Leitner, you want to tear your hair out like 4 Leitners in. But
Where'd you put the soundboard? Is it still on?
Oh, that's what that is.
that's what's under there.
Let me not put that there.
Sorry, let me just move.
Shine.
Hi, August.
Hello. I really like the green hair.
Thank you. I just did.
It looks good.
Oh, my soundboard.
Does that mean people can sit there now?
No.
There's still power stuff.
Oh, okay.
Alright, but the thing that sets Jürgen Leitner apart, aside from being a weird, fucked up librarian, is this thing where it became a meme very quickly, where someone just went off about how much they fucking hate Jürgen Leitner, and it became a copy pasta, and somebody did the whole thing, and I'd like to play this for you now because it's legendary. This is the iconic Jürgen Leitner rant.
Jürgen Leitner, stupid idiot motherfucking Jürgen Leitner, goddamn fool, book collecting, dust eating, rat old bastard, shithead idiot avatar of the whore, biggest clown in the circus, laughed out of town, cowboy motherfucking Jürgen Leitner. Stop pinning me when I talk about Jürgen Leitner. I hate him so much. Why does he have so many fucked up books? Why did he decide to fuck around and find out? Just set them loose. Is he dead? Is he a bastard? Man has such a visceral effect on me, not even in the room. Never seen this man's face, and I know he is the world's shittiest beard. Get over it. And to get into heaven, and God said Jürgen Leitner's waiting inside, I would piss on God's feet. Sent back down. I have to deal with Jürgen Leitner speaking one word in person on voice in podcast. Not only will I close the tab, I will delete my bookmark out of spite and have to rewatch the entire series again for the experience of being able to skip all the times when he is mentioned or alive. I don't even know why I hate him so much. He collects books, but I am just mad because I am angry. He better have some fucked up backstory to explain this. If he's just some rich shithead who's a fan of creepypasta and wanted the IRL version, I'll go ham. Better have had a book make him kill a man, because if he didn't, I'm gonna make him. PayPal.com/I fucking hate Jürgen Leitner.
Is that a real PayPal?
I don't know.
His library and I lost it. Where the fuck is Jürgen Leitner? If he's still alive, I'm going to so deeply wish he wasn't. Crusty old man. I'll punch Leitner, and his sad, frail, old man twig bones will simply flake apart under my epic, huge meat fist, and he will disintegrate until all that's left is one final book he kept on him at all times, simply titled Now You Fucked Up in Ancient Yiddish. Breathing, I'm hyperventilating at this point. I hope there's a date given for when Jürgen died or will die so I can make it a reminder on my phone. Every day, once a year, I will see it and do anything but pay respects to the man who had so many fucked up true books.
And that's the Jürgen Leitner. One of the best things to come out of this fandom, but yeah, so I copy pasted it there. It's one of my. I used to be able to I had part of it memorized. I could do it, and I really wish I could get back to that point in my life.
That's better than pissing on the moon.
Yeah, it is. If I wanted to get into heaven and God said Jürgen Leitner's waiting inside, I would piss on God's feet for the sole purpose of getting sent back down. It's poetry. So anyway, we have a lot of fucked up little tapes with a lot of fucked up little guys. And about halfway through, we start to hear stuff about, Martin's been out sick. He's been out sick for a really long time. That's weird, right? It's weird that they keep mentioning that in the little post things where they talk about how they looked at, because how it works is they do the statement and then they'll do a little postscript afterwards. It's like, here's what we did, here's how we researched, blah, 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 blah. And then John randomly starts going, yeah, Martin's out sick. And I don't know why, but whatever, I guess. So, is Martin out sick?
Sick?
No. Martin is being traumatized. So, I think I need a warning for the next slide. There's some freaky stuff that you're
I love the word
see.
traumatized with a green check mark.
Yeah,
Thumbs up.
Not sick. Traumatized.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
This is Jane Prentice.
Ooh.
The worms are descending. Remember those worm people I mentioned? Here's one of them. She's full of worms. And she kind of likes it, which
Boogie
is
boogie
weird.
type.
She's really into it. She like thinks it's a vibe. And she has been keeping Martin locked in his house for about, I can't remember, for a while. I just put for a while. It's a really long, because he stuffs all of the cracks in his house with like anything he can find to keep the worms out, and subsides on like nothing but canned peaches for like 3 weeks. And then one morning he wakes up and she's gone, so he fucking books it to the Institute and is like, John, help me! So, her next plan is the Institute. She's coming for the Institute.
So, quick question. Is there a specific time zone that this is set in?
It's set, like, what do you mean by time zone?
Not like, my bad, not time zone, but like
Time period?
Like, yeah.
It's modern day. Like, as it was coming out, it was like...
Does Martin not have a phone?
He does. It, like, I think it fell out of his pocket or something while he was running. The creepy part is, after Martin shows up, it says, hey, I just got traumatized. John has been getting texts from Martin.
Oh.
Knock, knock. Sorry. Is everyone okay with dogs, or should I put them away?
I'm cool with that.
They're very nice.
I don't do well with big dogs.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's a second dog.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm sorry.
A new dog destroyed.
It is perfectly nice out, so they are fine in the back.
Okay, I'm
There are
sorry.
2 dogs.
But, yeah, so this whole time John's been getting texts from Martin's phone telling him that he's sick.
Oh.
Those did not come from Martin.
Oh.
And when Martin shows up again, he gets a text that basically says, you can have him, we have bigger plans. So...
Not a big enough
So
plan
Martin
for you,
doesn't
huh?
Martin has been traumatized. He will continue to be traumatized on several different occasions, as will everyone else here.
Ha, fuck you, Martin.
Oh, we like
Martin's
Martin.
baby.
Martin's a good boy. We like Martin a lot. But the good news is they also found out the worms can be killed by CO2. You spray them with enough CO2, they just fucking...
Just breathe on him.
No, well, they got a bunch of fire extinguishers, so... None of them tried that? Maybe. I don't think you could get close enough.
Yeah, because don't they like jump
That's
too?
what CO2 is.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so, anyway, we meet some more funky people. We get some more funky people. This is Michael. He's very weird and he's very long and he might be a friend. We're not sure. Sasha runs into him. And he, like, kind of helps her, I guess. And then, yeah, that happens. Nice. We also have Melanie King. I am in love. This is my girlfriend.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She was a meme in universe for a little bit. She's on a ghost hunting show, and she comes in and says, "Hi, I think I saw something real," and so now she's here. We also have Jared Key. I don't care about Jared Key, and I feel like I'm gonna get murdered if I say that in this fandom. Because people like him because he's dead and goth and small, and he just doesn't do it for me. Anyway, he was a assistant for the past archivist. That's who he is. He's just kind of, he's dead now, but that's Jared. He's goth and weird, and his mom's worse. We also have these guys. This is Breakin and Hope. Are they twins? Are they friends? Are they lovers? We're not sure. They never really specify what the fuck they are. They might even be the same entity.
They're together.
They're just Breakin and Hope. They're chilling. They're the guys who brought the coffin to Joshua Gillespie. They're the coffin dudes who were like, wow, you're alive. That's weird. Anyway, bye. And this is Mikayla Salesa. He sells a lot of wacky things. He's a salesman of creepy shit, like a homophobic vase.
Can you clarify?
Should I? Because I think it's funnier if I just say it's a homophobic vase and move on. There's a vase he sells to a guy who every time he puts something in it, it disappears. And then one time the guy who bought it walks in and his husband's hand is sticking out of it, and then the husband disappears forever.
Oh.
So, hello.
Hey.
So it's a homophobic vase.
Roland, the source is the Magnus Archives.
Yeah. Don't you think I know my shit? I'm wearing an eye pin. I'm I'm serving the eye today. None of you know what that means, but you will.
That's true. I do not know what that means.
Becky, let me know if you would like me to move him.
Oh, he's fine.
What's his name?
His name is Toast because Mikayla's last name is French, so he's French Toast.
Aww.
Wasn't the other one named Toast?
The other one is named Luffy, and that is the dog of Mikayla's brother's roommate, who just happens to be hanging out here today.
Oh, that's what it's another dog. I was like, oh, you guys.
Guest audience member for the lecture, Luffy.
Good dog.
But your dog was brown for
Alright.
some reason.
So after the homophobic base, specifically, I love that this is the same episode with the homophobic base as this stuff where this happens. So, anyways, John sees a spider on the wall, and he goes, I want to get rid of that spider. So he takes the fire extinguisher and hits the wall, and the entire wall comes down, and there are worms back there.
Uh-oh.
There are hundreds of thousands of worms back there.
Better start breathing.
I find it really funny that this is the same episode of the homophobic face. But yeah, there are hundreds of thousands of worms back there. And that's not good, because they all immediately attack. And so what does the gang do about this? Sasha is the only one with a brain cell and runs to get a competent adult. Finds Elias, so he'll do, I guess. But they get separated by a tidal wave of approximately 300,000 worms, and so she goes to what's going on? No, stop, no, back, stop. There we go. So she goes to artifact storage, because there's a thing, and then jeez, you're being attacked by a dog. But so she goes to artifact storage because there's a thing that'll set off all the CO2 fire stoppers in the building in there. Meanwhile, John, Martin, and Tim are stuck in a room. They're just stuck back there, and they have a heart-to-heart while stuck in the back room. It's kind of nice, kind of sweet. But then he asks Martin if he's dead, because for a second Martin's like, I don't think I can leave the Institute. And John legitimately looks him dead in the eyes and says, are you a ghost? And he goes, what the fuck? No, I'm not a ghost. I am a human who's having a bit of an existential crisis. And then...
I love that that's not an unreasonable question.
No, not for this show. And then Tim busts through the wall with, like, a Chad. There are a bunch of tunnels under the Institute. Secret tunnels. Secret tunnel song from Avatar. There you go. And so they all escape into the tunnels. And they don't get out of the Institute because God knows where the fucking tunnels go. But they're in tunnels, less worms down there. That's nice.
Has this whole show been taking place in the Institute thus far?
Yes.
Okay.
So I hope you didn't like Sasha. Because, remember what I said about earlier, the not them, the whole invasion of the body snatchers thing? One's waiting for her in archivist in the archive storage. So Sasha goes by. Sasha disappears. She's not here anymore.
How many episodes in did this happen?
This is episode 39.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've had time to become, like, attached to
Yes.
Sasha.
We like Sasha. Sasha's very good. The way they do it actually is very clever because on the tape, I want to see if I can pull this up because I really like it. Sasha gets replaced. Because the way they do it, since it's an audio medium.
No, it's not Toast.
That's not Toast.
Animal abuse.
May 39. Alright. I want to see if I can. I don't care that you've been making yogurt.
Matthew, are you okay?
A Larson.
It's okay.
But yeah,
Probably
so
just
we've
let the
got.
dog on that wall.
Sasha gets fucking yeeted, and we're all depressed about it.
Oh.
And actually, like for a second, the first time I was listening to this episode, I texted my friend. I was like, "Did Sasha just get fucking yeeted? When's Sasha coming back?" And my friend just texted me a sad face. And that was it. And I was like, "Oh no." Okay. So this is Sasha, and this is Sasha getting yeeted, and I'm playing this because the way they did it is very clever and very scary.
John, I think there's someone here. Hello? I see you. Show yourself.
different voice actress.
Hi. I'm good.
I see you.
No.
And that's it. Sasha's gone. Bye.
Sasha's British?
Yeah, they're all British. They're all British. This is.
Holy fuck, there's so many fucking human beings in here, though!
Yo, Jackson, my
What's up? Someone just died.
Yo!
Yeah, there were more human beings in this room, but then we had to kill Sasha.
Did I neglect to mention this is a British show? This is set in London.
They're all British.
This is news to me.
The Magnus Archives is in London.
Yo,
Did I not mention that?
I feel like that should be included in the lore. Oh, yeah,
So I forgot to mention.
Everyone is British.
They're
That's a
all
very
British.
important
This is a
detail.
British show. Alright, so anyway, Sasha, dead. Everybody's sad. But,
Jackson, if you want to hold the camera, you can
so
take
John and Tim get back up at the Institute
You
to
wanna hold
find
the
a
camera, you can
fucking
take my
tidal
seat, I can
wave
move over
of
there.
worms. And the woman of the hour, Jane Prentice, is here, and she's about to fucking kill them. But Elias is, unfortunately for Jane, is the only one with a brain cell. And, oh yeah, so, sorry, I forgot what I put on which slide for this early. But, so Elias is the only one with a brain cell. He goes and hits the CO2, like, right before Tim and John just fucking die. So, he saves the day. They're fine. All the worms are dead, and Jane is also dead now. Because she had too many worms in her. So CO2 was a bad move. And where was Martin during all this? Because you'll notice I said John and Tim busted into the archives and found the tidal wave of worms. They got separated from Martin at some point, and when Martin was doing all this, was all going down, was finding a corpse!
So being traumatized.
Yeah, being traumatized again. That corpse is the corpse of Gertrude, also known as the archivist who died mysteriously before John got the position. Her corpse is in the tunnels. That's probably not good. And anyway, so that's season 1. That's where we end season 1. And I'd like to end every season with a special Jesus Christ What the Fuck award, because every single season has one episode that's, or one or two. Season 1 has 2, but I went with just one. That just really fucking sticks with you, and you're like, what the fuck was that? And for season 1, it's Lost John's Cave. No one likes Lost John's Cave. It is a story about two sisters who go caving, and this is what I meant when you said earlier you hated the idea of being buried alive. They get stuck down there. The map doesn't work right, and
The map doesn't work! What the fuck?
Roland's already panicking.
Not the Minecraft.
The map is technically correct, but the cave
Did you put the redstone in right?
The cave shifts to bury them personally. And then John is like, we also found this cool thing. It's another tape. It's a recording of the one sister when she was alone, and it's just an audio recording of the sister just whispering, "Take her, not me," over and over and over and over and over again. The other sister is never found.
Oh.
So, Lost John's Cave really fucks a lot of people up. No.
Damn, I'm staying up here.
Yeah, honestly.
So do some of the episodes like contribute to the overarching story and some of them don't?
Basically
that
what-
type of shit?
Basically what happens is, the thing about the Magnus Archives is you have to remember almost every name that they throw at you.
Yeah.
In the time, because inevitably, most of the time, those names come back. And it's like, oh shit, I don't remember who the fuck this is. And you have to go back and figure it all out. But mostly what it is it's like putting together bits and pieces of, a lot of the first season is world building.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just branch out from there.
My favorite episode is in season 1, and it's arachnophobia, and it's a story of a guy who's afraid of spiders.
That one's so fucked up.
Generally, and then he becomes convinced that there is a spider, like an individual specific spider that has been haunting him his entire life, and that he cannot kill, and who has found him in his apartment, and is going to, like, he's not even afraid of what it's gonna do. He just hates that it's there, and that it's always been there. And he's like come to the realization that this spider he can't kill in his apartment has always been there his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dies, I think.
The statement ends.
Yeah, the statement ends, and then Martin finds a corpse in the basement of his building.
We're on camera.
Sweet. And you said corpse?
Oh, there's a corpse in the basement of the building,
That's not how
wrapped in
it's supposed to
spiderwebs.
start.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hot.
Yeah, that's a fucked up one too. This season 1. A lot of these episodes are just fucked up as hell. I recommend never watching the show past dark.
Oh, that's how I.
Never listening to the show past dark. I recommend it.
Why is it
Isn't
too
that gonna fuck with the sound?
Probably.
Alright, whatever.
It's definitely too
So let's get on to season 2. John loses his fucking marbles.
Yeah, John! Yeah!
That's what
Yo,
season
John!
2 is. John loses his fucking marbles. So the first thing we learn is that turns out John is actually not a skeptic. When he was 8 years old, he ran into a goddamn lightner. Fucking lightner.
A lightner?
A lightner designed for children,
A what?
by the way.
I love Deltarune.
A what?
I don't know what the fuck a lightner is either.
It's the book. It's the
fucked
guy.
up book.
I just
Does it
played
make
you the entire
Does it
rant.
make you white? Is that what it does? Does it turn you Caucasian? Does it give you
Oh no!
Something, one of them might. I don't know. They're all pretty fucked up books.
One of them.
They're all pretty fucked up books. He probably has one that does that.
Oh god. Okay.
So the book is called A Guest for Mr. Spider, and basically when John was like 8 years old, he almost got eaten by a giant spider monster, but the giant spider monster missed and got his childhood bully instead.
Yeah.
Which I personally believe is a win.
That's sick.
On multiple levels. You didn't get eaten by a giant spider monster, but your childhood bully did? Fucking nice.
And you watched it happen?
Yeah, when you were 8 years old.
Imagine if you not only dodged a bullet, but the person who owns your debt did not. Imagine you dodged a bullet, but the person who owns your debt didn't.
Roland, nobody owns debt. Multinational corporations own debt.
Also, you don't own debt when you're 8 years old.
I'm trying to apply it to our world.
Anyway, so that's John. So jumping back to the present, John is obsessed with Gertrude's death now that they found her corpse. It really fucked him up because, like, oh, archivist is dead in mysterious circumstances. I'm the archivist now. I don't like this. So this is the list of. Oh shit. Okay. This is the list of this is our list of suspects and why. So Martin has been strangely attentive and caring towards him during this time. He's gay for you, John. Please get it together, John. He's gay for you, but it's fine, whatever. Tim
No, Luffy.
works here
Yeah,
for some reason.
Luffy, please.
And he doesn't know the reason, so obviously he's suspect.
Come on.
And Elias is a capitalist.
He did it.
What?
He did it.
Maybe, who knows?
That guy did it. That guy there.
Elias is a capitalist and also has a very punchable face. Now, John didn't say that, but I think he should have, because that's what I believe. Sasha's fine, though. No suspect on Sasha.
More like Sasha.
You're not the first person to make that joke, and I guarantee you're not the
I don't
last.
even have any context!
So Sasha's good, though. No suspicions on Sasha.
No, not
Even
a single one.
Not a single one. She's fine.
Oh man,
I don't even know who the
that's.
fuck Sasha is, so I can't
So we have some more new friends.
Jonathan.
We have Basira Hussein, who is a cop, and
Hussein?
therefore a bastard. But we don't worry about that. And he convinces her
Therefore
to
a
get him
bastard.
some like tapes that were taken away to the police station for investigating because you just found a corpse of a missing person. The police are gonna get involved. It's like kind of how they work.
Are they?
Also, Michael again. He's back and he's longer. And he and he hangs out in weird doorways.
Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps getting like progressively more fucked up every time we see him. He's really weird and he hangs out in doorways and tends to disappear behind them a lot. He has very long fingers.
Faust type
Is
beat,
Michael
am I
just
right,
like a
guys?
friendly cryptid?
Yeah.
Wall,
pretty
loser,
much.
introvert.
Well, we're not sure about the friendly part.
Okay, well he's just cryptid.
The friendly part.
Michael's trying very hard to be their friend, but he is fundamentally an eldritch being. And so his representations of friendship are not always
His
welcome.
representations of friendship are like, I'm not going to kill you today. And they're
Yeah.
like, cool?
And then they'll get mad at him for killing other people, and he's like, dude,
I have to eat.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I won't kill you, though.
Yeah, that's Michael. That's Michael. We like Michael. I like Michael. I think
Very popular with
Would he like
he's a vibe.
eat your family?
Probably yes. At
Got
the
it.
very least, he'd bring them into his doorway and get lost in an abandoned, unending maze of confusing hallways. That's Michael's deal. He likes doors. All right, so
And I also have a
so we have an
rolling board if
update
you
on
need
the suspect list. Sasha is now suspicious. We're finally getting into Sasha being suspicious. Why? She stares at a table for a really long period of time. There's this weird fucked up table in archive storage, and she likes staring at it a lot.
Like, how long?
Like, I mean, it's not about the length of time she spends staring at it, it's the way she looks at it and how often she does it.
It's
Got
also
it.
a table that, looked at for any length of time, is a net negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
It's a really weird table. Basically, anything that's in archive storage is like, you don't want to go in there. There's a bunch of fucked up stuff that could kill you if you stayed in there for too long. So the fact that she's looking at everything is weird. Also, has a new boyfriend named Tom, and she spends a lot of time hanging out in a wax museum. That's why it's like, what? And she's like, yeah, my boyfriend Tom works at the wax museum. Here's a picture of him. And John's like, that looks like a stock photo. And she goes, shut up, and moves away. And that's basically, so we're suspicious of Sasha now. We're not suspicious of Martin anymore because he talked for a little bit. He's like, they're gonna find out I lied. And John was like, what? Because Martin was calling his mom. And he's like, that is actually what he was doing. He was calling his mom. And Martin's like, they're gonna find out I lied. And that obviously set John off because John is losing his fucking marbles at the moment. But Martin admits he lied on his CV to get the job. Like, he's not lying about anything suspicious. He's like, I'm just woefully underqualified to be here. And yeah, his life was kind of falling apart, and he's too nice to be a suspect. For God's sake, John, he's gay for you. Can you look at him for like 2 minutes, please? But yeah, so John's not suspicious, but we're very suspicious of Sasha now.
Did this podcast start in an era where the internet was generally like a gay friend?
Yeah, no, this podcast came out in 2016, and Martin's crush on John was actually like planned in the writing from the start. Like, the writers talked about that. Like, it's like, yeah, he's always been head over heels for this guy for some reason. Like, John is the way he is, and I don't know why you're attracted to him, but go off, I guess. So, John is really bad at being inconspicuous, is the thing. He's really bad, so the entire gang has an intervention to tell him, hey, could you please, like, stop spying on me and, like, following me home and going through my desk when I'm not there? And, Elias is also a part of this investigation, and he's like, I can fucking give you CCTV footage to, like, prove that none of them were here the night, like, Gertrude got murdered. Is that what you want? And John's like, yes, that is what I want. so Elias gives him the CCTV footage, and it's fine. So John's like, okay, maybe my coworkers are fine. But if it wasn't them, it must be someone else. And everyone sighs. He never learns his lesson. This is just what he does. So, now I get to meet Alasdair Stuart. She's a cop and a bastard. But she's not nearly as nice as Basira, but, I'm gay.
2, I am gay.
Yeah, 1, all cops are bastards, 2, I am gay. And, she is getting her own slide solely because she shows up she shows up at a random time. She showed up late. Everyone else is, like, already here. And she's just, like, kind of waltzing in. Like, hi, I'm a cop. I'm here. I'm also angry all the time. Hello, my name's Daisy. And she's great. We're gonna learn more about Daisy later.
What episode are we at?
Probably... I'm not sure about episode numbers. Just know season 2 goes from 40 to 80.
Got it.
41 to 80. Every season of Magnus Archives is 40 episodes long. So there's 200 episodes in total. So some funky updates. Melanie's back again, and she was a meme for a second. She went back to the place that she got like bazinga'd last time. And
What?
She found a real ghost, and it was a bad take. And
So that's what that means.
She started freaking out. She started freaking out, and somebody filmed it and put it on the internet, and she was a meme for a little bit. So that's her story. She also doesn't recognize Sasha, which is weird. She's like, "Who's that new girl you hired?" And John's like, "That's Sasha. She's been here since day one. What the fuck are you talking about?" And Melanie's like, "That's okay, whatever, but that's not Sasha." So.
Oh shit! She can see the
she's
people.
She's one of the few people who can see through it. Because there's a couple people who can see through that shit. Melanie's one of them. And Tim can't get fired.
Why?
Tim fucking hates it here. He hates his boss, he hates the job, he hates everything. So he tries to get fired, John tries to fire him, Tim tries to quit, none of it works.
What?
He can't do it.
Is he like supernaturally bound to the Institute?
Yeah, bro, stuck in like fucking groundhog.
Not just him. They're figuring out that people can't really quit once you're here. And you can't really get fired.
Bro, Amazon needs to do that.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
Alright, so...
Oh, man.
Alright. So, John has a new plan. Alright, so since he's like, my coworkers are fine, so... But something else has to have done it. So he's gonna explore the tunnels. There's gotta be other wacky shit down there, right? And there is. There's a lot of wacky shit down there. And there's proof that someone's like been living down there too, which is weird on multiple occasions. And so he gets more security footage and finds out, for some reason, he can't figure out, both Sasha and some weird old guy he's never seen before have been going in and out of the tunnels. I should probably mention the weird old guy is not the new boyfriend Tom. The new boyfriend Tom has yet to be seen. We're pretty sure he's stock footage. So yeah, so he's like, that's weird, right?
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
So, hey, remember that bit where Melanie doesn't recognize Sasha?
You got a question, Professor?
Yes?
I know this is a bit of a ways back, but you mentioned that like you can't get fired from the Magnus Archives. Is there sick leave?
No.
What if I just didn't show up?
You die. We're gonna get into that later.
that would suck.
Tim tries. Tim takes a bunch of paid time off and just fucking leaves.
So you at least get PTO.
And gets sick and has to come back.
You at least get PTO though, right?
Just randomly gets like fucking.
Yeah, it's a job.
Yeah, but if you use too much of it, you get like
can't
sick
leave
and die.
permanently.
Yeah.
You can't leave permanently. You have to go back.
One of the running jokes of the employees is how they refuse to do their jobs because they're like supernaturally bound to this place, and how it's pissing off their eldritch boss.
Yeah, they're really.
Not the Eldritch Boss.
Yeah, they're like, maybe if we just didn't do shit, you can't fire us, motherfucker. And it's like really great.
Wait, the capitalist CEO,
The capital CEO, yes.
does he have like eldritch powers
We're
over?
gonna get to that.
Oh,
I'm pretty
jeez.
sure this is
We're
against
gonna
some
get
labor
to
laws. I'm
fucking
pretty sure they're
alliance.
breaking. I'm pretty sure they're breaking a few like laws about business practices.
Why not? They get paid time off.
No, but like you can't like kill your coworker if they quit or whatever.
Fuck you.
As a lawyer, I'm working on that.
They don't directly kill them, it's fine. It's a mysterious illness that makes them come back.
Oh.
It's like reverse radiation poisoning.
Exactly.
So it's like the game industry. They're not telling you have to crunch. They're just like suggesting that you know. Okay.
Because of the
Exactly.
implication.
Because of the implication.
So John, after seeing like Sasha going down into the tunnels on this weird CCTV footage, the fact that Melanie can't recognize Sasha starts ringing some disturbing bells. Some very disturbing bells. So John realizes there have been a bunch of tapes that have gone missing during the Jane Prentice attack that they used to have and they don't anymore. And he realizes all of those tapes had one thing in common. They all had Sasha's original voice on them. They're all gone. So he manages to find one, because that's the trick with these weird not them things. They can replace a person, they can replace all old photos of them, all old videos. If it's on it's Polaroids and cassette tapes, basically anything before digital. They can't fuck with that.
So is that why the cassette tape use is so heavy in the?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do we know what they want?
No, they wanna eat shit and kill people. like they just vibing. They don't give a shit.
They're the fucking alternates from Mandela
So-
Catalog.
Yeah, exactly. They just want to kill people.
So
They think it's
relatable.
funny.
So relatable.
They're like,
Little
I want to
alien
scare
bros.
the shit out of people.
Wolverine cool.
Every monster you meet, every monster we meet in this show, their primary motivation is, I want to scare the fuck out of some people. Like, that's their primary motivation.
Ooh.
And we'll get into why that is a bit later, but like, that's every single person in this show who's a monster. So, what does John plan to do with this information now that he's figured out, oh, that's not Sasha, that's a replacement. She's been body snatched. This is the dumbest plan of all time.
Axe.
Get axed. It's like, John has the dumbest plan of all time. So you know that weird table? Turns out there's a statement he found in which the not them was bound to that table. So he figures, he makes a huge lapse in judgment and leap in decision making and decides, well maybe if I take an axe to the table, I'll kill the thing. Kill the table, kill the thing.
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't sound horrible. I feel like destroying this artifact is a net positive for the world.
It makes it angry.
When I say bound, I mean restricted.
Oh!
Was holding her back. Someone on Wiki kills this man and regrets it every day, and this is why. So basically, John has not defeated the thing. He set her free.
So you should have thrown the table in the ocean. It would have made so much more sense.
I mean, Simon Fairchild would attest to that, but whatever.
Okay.
So he's being now chased through. He's playing the worst level of Temple Run ever created as he runs through these tunnels, being chased by Sasha, who doesn't even look like a person anymore. By the way, she's just stretched out limbs and horrific, not human.
You've got to put the Temple Run theme over this one. Just over this one thing.
Worst level of Subway Surfers ever made in existence. But, so hey, remember how it wasn't just Sasha, there was also an old guy down there? It's Jurgen Leitner!
Oh no!
I hate this man.
Honestly! Yeah!
I will move.
He's been living in the tunnels, and he's now here to he uses one of his own fucked up books to raise a bunch of walls around not Sasha and trapping her. So now she's trapped, she's out of the picture. And now he's gonna dump a shitload of exposition on us. He's here to explain everything. And now we're gonna talk about these little things called the 14 entities.
Oh, there's a set amount of them. That's
Titties.
If they were the end titties, this would be a much more fun show. But unfortunately, it's not. So what Jurgen basically explains is that there are these things called the 14 entities. They live on the very edge of our reality. And they control all the fear in the world.
What?
They control all the fear in the world. Their goal, well, they don't really have a goal. They don't have sentience in the way that we think about it. They're difficult to explain. But basically, the vibe is, they're on the outside, they're kind of leaking in through a little bit, but they want in. They want in. They want the world.
Is it more like a elemental thing where like air wants to fill a vacuum?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's kind of like the Greek gods in Percy Jackson, where their existence facilitates like their realm of influence. So like Pan, the god of nature, helped protect nature, but the existence of nature also allowed for the existence of Pan.
Yeah, it's like a back and forth kind of deal.
Yeah,
it's weird, but it's like
the Avatar.
Yeah, just think about it as like these are 14 fear gods, basically.
The 14 spooky gods.
The fact of separating them is a human thing. Like Jurgen points out, he's like, they all blend together in different places in weird ways. But in order to understand them better, people separated them into 14 different situations. So yeah, it's very Greek god.
And there's academic discourse over how many there are.
There is literally. We're gonna get into that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. But so here we go. We're gonna look at the 14 different entities. We have the buried, which is probably gonna be your favorite.
No.
So the buried, fear the dirt.
Fear the dirt.
Fear the dirt. Basically, buried controls fear of enclosed spaces, things like that. He's very simple.
That.
The corruption, also known as Jane Prentice's little friend, that's what Jane Prentice came from, is fear of disease and filth, and typically bugs. It comes through a lot in like bugs and other gross things. Yeah, trichophobia is a big one for the corruption. The dark, exactly what it fucking sounds like. Are you scared of the dark? There you go.
Oh man, I love that show.
No,
like in Pokemon.
Yeah, I literally took that joke from a Jello Apocalypse video because it's my favorite joke he's ever made, where he's talking about Pokemon fighting types, and he goes, "The way to defeat dark, punch it." That's my favorite joke, and every time I talk about the dark, I think about that.
already.
It's a Kamen Rider reference.
No, stop.
So then we have the Desolation. That's basically destruction of any kind, but particularly it really enjoys fire. The big one is fire. These and also has fun with pain. It likes pain. These guys are fun.
Horny.
The guys who follow the Desolation, funky little dudes.
Funny little guys.
You little dudes.
Green goblins.
Stop!
Are these like official visuals?
No, I put the art cred. This is fan-made stuff.
Oh, cool.
There's an
Fine.
art cred on the thing.
Fine.
Don't worry.
Cool.
Yeah. We also have the End, fear of death. Classic. The guys who like follow the end are actually like really chill dudes because they're like, it's coming for you anyway.
Fucking atheists.
Not really, but like they just kind of vibe.
Like anti-atheists.
Then we have the eye. The eye deals with the fear of the everlasting like horror of being perceived.
Oh man.
Like it's a fear you're being watched, you're being judged. That's sort of the constant fear. But it's also like the need to know everything that's going on. And that is the entity that runs the Magnus Institute. So therefore, that's the entity that John is now linked to.
Oh my god.
So John is linked to the eye. I should also mention, if you follow one of these, you're considered to be an avatar of that thing. I forgot to mention that.
Follow it. Like there's sort of like if
Yeah.
you're the leader, you can become imbued with its powers.
Yeah, that's a more accurate way.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yo,
It's
Chainsaw
like
Man?
I'm trying to be basic,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is
There's
correct.
a hierarchy.
There's a hierarchy of following, but yeah. So if you're like, if you got some of that spooky bitch's power, you spooky bitch's power, you get to be an avatar. We have the flesh. Animals get scared too, guys. This is the fear of like being mutilated or having your body like torn asunder. It's eaten. It's literally, they talk about it. It's like animals have fear too, and this is mostly charged by animals. Is like the fear of slaughterhouses.
This is so cool.
I knew you were gonna love this. Then we have the hunt, which is the fear of being hunted, predatory situation. Pretty basic. The slaughter is the fear of brutal, sudden violence. It also has a lot of ties to war. I constantly get that one mixed up with the hunt, but like the thing that separates them is the hunt is the act of the chase, whereas the slaughter is the slice at the end. It's kind of the...
It's a great car.
This couch is so low.
We interrupt this war. Do I record
That's
this?
not my car.
Okay.
Okay.
It's good footage, dog.
Somebody else's car here.
So, yeah, but that's a getting back into this. That's a good way of showing how they like blend together. Like the slaughter and the hunt are very similar in that they both deal with violence and like things like that. We also have the lonely. Are you alone? That's cool. It's the fear of like abandonment, being isolated, all that sort of stuff. They're really into like ships for some reason. The people in the lonely love ships and like fog.
So do these entities have like followers?
Yeah, they have like people on the ground.
Word.
People on the inside. And if you get the funky powers, if the god thinks like you're pretty sick, dude, you get the funky powers.
It's giving the Danger from the Elder Scrolls a little bit, and I like that.
I'm gonna pretend like I know what the Elder Scrolls,
Okay.
anything about the. I know what it is, but I've never played it, so I don't know the lore.
You've never played Skyrim?
No.
Becky, you've never played Skyrim?
Tyler, shut the fuck up. This is a Magnus Archives lecture.
I bought Skyrim for the Oculus, and I spent $60 on it. I played it for 30 minutes, and it made me violently nauseous.
Oh, sad. I'm sorry.
I don't think that was Skyrim.
It looks bad.
Oh.
It's an old game,
Yeah.
and being immersed in the world does not make it look newer.
So, okay.
Skyrim VR.
We're
Skyrim
continuing
in
through
first
fears.
person.
Yo, Skyrim slander. Let's go.
Hell yeah!
Alright,
I
so
hate this.
next up we got the spiral. This motherfucker is fun. I love the spiral people. Spiral people are cool. It's the fear of madness and that everything around you is lying to you. It's deception. It's basically like really big at deception. Michael is a spiral avatar. He's fucked up and weird and I love him.
Oh, did you talk about the void yet? Did I miss that?
No, we haven't talked about
Spoiled it.
Is he voluntarily a spiral follower?
Yes. Well, kind of.
So there's
Spiral fucker.
putting on my sociology hat for a second.
Okay, go for
There's
it.
a level of like social construction of the avatars, which is why there's kind of academic discourse around like how many of them there are. So like the difference between the hunt and the slaughter, or the slaughter and the flesh, is mostly defined by the people who experience them and get their powers and use their powers, and less so because you have three distinct like gods that exist.
Yeah.
And so the spiral is sort of like the ooziest one in the sense that it consumes. You become a part of it. You don't, like with the desolation.
You don't really choose to.
Yeah.
You kind of just show up.
Yeah, the desolation is like you're an angry, horrible, like, sadist, and you found a way to do that professionally.
Yeah.
Whereas the spiral is like, you were a normal person, and then I put you in a situation where you had no other outcome other than becoming completely insane.
Yeah.
And now you're me.
You were a normal person, and then you walked through the wrong fucking doorway.
And now
it's basically the
So it's like a conceptualization of madness is merging with an inherently broken consciousness that's seeping into you.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be a broken consciousness. All right, let's keep going.
Fuck you, Tyler.
Let's keep going before Tyler shares more opinions. So now we have the stranger. I fucking hate this one. Basically, the fear of Uncanny Valley. It's all mannequins and dolls. It's like something that looks human but isn't.
Mars meets mom.
That is the stranger. I hate this bitch.
Watch Mars Needs Mom once, and now I'm this fucker.
Yeah, honestly, I hate this bitch. I hate the stranger. Then we have the vast. Big! Fear of big. That is vast.
I love this one. It's
Big
my
spaces. It has a lot to do with like sky, like falling through the sky. It also has connections with the ocean. This is also where shit gets weird because like the vast is like fear of big open spaces. The buried is fear of like confined spaces. But they both have heavy connections to water. Like so they like blend together in weird places.
I think that's cool.
Yeah. Because like if you're underwater and stuck, that's buried. If you're just out in the ocean and there's just ocean and there's nothing there but ocean, that's vast. So you would think vast would be the one really into ships, but no, it's the lonely. The lonely is like that's my shit.
Get it? Cause lonely like shipping.
Alone
at the edge of
the universe, humming a tune.
If I could tell you the amount of people cosplaying lonely people, like on the Magnus Archives TikTok, doing that song, there's so many of them. But and then we have the last one here, the web. The only smart bitch here. I love the web a whole lot. It's the fear of being controlled and like master manipulation. So web. And it also has a direct connection with spiders. Anything in this show that's spider is web.
I love that they did that. Yeah. Like, thematically, it has nothing to do with spiders or the way spiders are. But also, like...
You would think, like, spiders would be corruption, but no.
Yeah.
If you see a spider, it's not corrupt. That's how you figure out if it's web or corruption. If there's bugs, it's corruption. If that bug is specifically a spider, it's web.
Well, it's an arachnid, not a bug.
I'm going to throw you out the nearest window.
Demerit.
It's true.
Alright.
That's true. Am I wrong, though?
It's not even all arachnids. It's just spiders.
Just spiders.
A non-smoking PSA.
Yeah, alright. So this is the most effective non-smoking PSA that has ever been put to media. So John is understanding, like, okay, you just dumped everything on me at once, and now I'm figuring out that I am also part of this, and like, oh shit, I'm connected to the eye. I'm a little bit Avatar. That's yikes. And so he's like, I need to go take a smoke break. You wait here. I'm gonna go smoke. And Jurgen Leitner's like, cool. And then Elias comes in and beats the shit out of Jurgen Leitner with a big metal pipe. And kills him.
Space.
It's the best shit ever. It's actually become a meme. It's called Brutal Pipe Murder BPM. And there's my favorite audio in the world. The voice actor for Elias did a thing at a convention where he like got a bunch of lines for people to have him say in Elias's voice, and one of them was gay rights. So there's an audio out there of someone splicing it together of him. You hear him beating this man to death with a metal pipe, and then he goes, gay rights. It's like the best audio that exists for this show. So yeah, Jurgen Leitner is now dead.
What day did he die on? So every year I can do something besides honor his...
Magnus Archives trends every year on Tumblr on the anniversary of Jurgen Leitner's death. I'm pretty sure it's February 16th. I think it's February 16th, off the top of my head. I might be wrong, but I think that's the date. So that's the end of season 2. We end on Jurgen Leitner getting brutally murdered by a pipe. I think that's the best way to end it. So the special Jesus Christ What the Fuck award for season 2 goes to Binary. This is an episode about which this girl downloads a computer program about this guy called Sergei Yushanka, and it shows him continuously taking apart and eating his own computer in extreme pain as he does so. And when she tries to turn it off, it just keeps following her around every screen she goes to until she sits and watches the whole thing. And I think it's like 17 hours. She has to sit down for 17 hours and watch this man slowly disassemble and eat his entire computer. And then he dies, and she has to watch the whole thing or it follows her around.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's a bad one.
I don't like that.
This is why it won the Jesus Christ What the Fuck award for season 2.
They seem to be really good with like hyper specific like situational horror.
Oh yeah, they're very good at that. I can guarantee every single person who's listened to the Magnus Archives has one episode where they're like, that really fucked me up.
Can you move that back to
For like, no, like, that one
you.
really fucked. One of my friends could not finish one because they were so fucked up.
Oh,
It's
which
in season
one?
5.
Oh.
Way out in season 5. It had I'm not going to talk about it too much, so it's basically like ants, a lot of ants, and they all like crawled over this person and like took them out. Like, like ate them from the inside out. My
That's
friend was like, I
messy.
can't.
Bug horror.
Yeah, my friend was like, I
Oh
literally
man, I
can't
love the
finish this one.
corruption, bro.
I hate walking home and seeing like a weird brown giant patch covering 3 sidewalk tiles and then going, oh no, those are all ants.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
What if they were eating me?
Welcome to season 3, which is called Guys and Oh Fuck, That's a Lot of Dolls. Too much satisfaction out of this job.
Yeah.
For any pay.
Yo, Elon Jet coin.
Magnus Archives.
I don't know. I
Alright,
looked
are
up
we ready
Elon
to
Jet and it was the
continue?
first account
Okay,
that
well,
popped
you
up.
fucked up
I don't know what that
everything.
is.
Elon Jet coin.
Hang on. I gotta like minimize all this. All your special video shit. Alright, so season 3, Guys and Oh Fuck, That's a Lot of Dolls.
Yeah!
I hope at least one of you gets that reference.
I don't.
It's a musical called Guys and Dolls, and I thought I was.
Oh my goodness, I've seen that musical and I didn't get the reference.
Guys and Dolls, so this is Guys and Oh Fuck, That's a Lot of Dolls. Because we're gonna be dealing with the stranger a lot this season, guys, and it sucks.
It's a good thing I'm not scared of dolls.
Alright, so everyone suspects that John killed Leitner,
Why?
which is because John walked back into the room afterwards and went, that's a corpse. I'm standing in a corpse, and Elias was like,
So he
bye.
just got like Among Us.
Yeah, he literally. You joke? That's literally what happened. Like, there's somebody who made fan art as a joke of like Jurgen Leitner as a little gray Among Us dude, and behind him with a pipe was Elias in a vent. Like that's people have made jokes about it. It's good. So while he's being blamed, he's kind of on the run, and he's hiding with his ex-girlfriend, Georgie Parker. We love her. She has a podcast. She has Podcastception. She has a podcast within this podcast called What the Ghost, where she talks about like fun ghost stuff. Fun fact, she got her fear eaten once.
What?
Huh?
She ran into an avatar that ate her fear.
Well, that's good.
That's
Yeah, it's
so
great. She's not
hot.
afraid of anything.
I like that.
That's
Yeah.
so hot.
She's so cool. She is so hot. I love
Is that like maladaptively, like I'll run and fight people in the police station because I'm not scared of being arrested?
No, she's just kind of existing. She's just like, I'm not really all that scared of stuff. Anyway, let's talk about ghosts on my cool podcast. Like, that's just her. But, so that's Georgie. But we need to talk about the much more important roommate that comes from this. The Admiral is a cat, and he's excellent. He's the best character in the whole show. His name's the Admiral.
Because he's a cat.
People love this cat so much they made. By the way, the author of the show has the same name as the main character. There's John Sims the character and Johnny Sims the writer.
Wow.
So people love this cat so much they made Johnny Sims promise that no harm would ever befall him, and no harm ever does. He's the best cat. We love this cat. This is the Admiral. He's great. He deserved his own slide, so I gave it to him.
Sort of relevant question. Are the characters described in the show? Like,
Vaguely.
they have a certain
They have
appearance?
They're vaguely described. Most of this is just like fandom consensus.
Okay.
Of like, we think it looks like this, and then more people just start drawing them like that, and it's like, cool.
And is it the type of situation where they just haven't really like confirmed anything?
Yeah, they're just kind of like doing whatever. There are a couple characters who are like specific parts of them are described like I said earlier, Tim is canonically called the hot one. Like,
yeah.
And Basira calls him hot, and Basira's a lesbian, so once a lesbian calls a man hot, you know they're sexy. But so, like, yeah, there's like little hint, like one of the characters later, they're like, she's a black woman with white hair. And like that's all we're given, but like the fandom kind of messes with that. Some characters have like other, like basically
he is covered in tattoos.
yeah, and has very shittily dyed black hair. Is
Yeah.
like
Shittily.
yeah, they specifically say it's
Shittily.
poorly dyed. Like
Shittily.
so yeah, like vague descriptions are given, but other than that, it's like go nuts, do whatever the fuck you want.
That's
Which
just
is
it.
fun. So the cops are back because now there's another corpse of another old person in these god fucking tunnels, and Daisy is heading up the interrogation, and she does not want to be here, folks. She fucking hates this. So she's interrogating all the different institute employees about where John is, and they don't know either. It's like it's like they're as confused as you are. Like John, they don't know what the fuck's going on. But Elias knows a lot, like a disturbing amount that he should not know about Daisy.
Elias is the
Elias is the
head
boss.
guy.
We hate
Okay.
him. We fucking hate. So do you get why we hate this guy yet? Because he's like really fucking annoying and like freaky and knows way too much shit and uses that knowledge to like freak people out. Like he's.
I'm trying to figure out how close he is to the demon that's running the establishment. I don't know if he's an avatar or is him, and I haven't figured out where I've landed on that yet.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Fuck this guy. All right. So back to business. So John's gone, but that doesn't mean we can't stop shit at the institute. So now the archival assistants have to do the statements. They all hate it. They all hate doing this, but they do it anyway. So other important updates, Melanie got hired. Because you know, when you go to a place to talk to the weird guy who took a statement about your fear and the time you got shot in the leg with a ghost bullet, and you get hired instead. Because there's a shortage at the facility, because that guy you wanted to talk to is on the run for the murder of another old guy.
That's a lot of words.
That's Melanie. That's Melanie's situation. She got
a lot
hired.
of exposition.
We've all been there.
She got hired.
We've all been to Melanie.
Tim just wants to get the fuck out. Like, he's
They have
so
to go
done
through it.
at this point. He's going through it. He's trying so hard, but nothing's working. He's just like, I'm done. I'm not gonna do any work. Fuck this town and fuck this city. I'm gonna show up in the stupidest outfits possible to see if I get fired, and it does not. Yeah, you'd like him. So that's Tim. That's what's going on at the Institute. So about those entities. So John is being sent statements by a mysterious person. He doesn't know who's sending them to him. And one is recorded by Miss Gertrude, the past archivist. And turns out, so the avatars that serve the entities, remember how I said earlier, like, they're on the edges, but they want in.
Yeah.
Want in. They're trying to do these rituals to bring them in.
Why?
Because they're fucked up weird little avatars who are like, this is my god now. Like, that's what I mean when I say their motive is to scare the shit out of a bunch of people. Like, that's their whole thing. They want to...
Scrunklies.
And this is why we have to be
weird
scared of
little
like 14 year olds.
Little bimblos.
They're weird little fucking scrunklies.
The beloved Scrunkly from
Oh
that
my God.
1990s platformer you played as a kid.
But yeah, so bringing the entities into this reality would be bad. Like, I feel like that's understatement of the year. Everybody can understand that. Fear God maybe should not be brought into this universe. And Gertrude was looking into the next ritual that was being planned, which is a ritual for the stranger called the unknowing. And it sucks. But anyway, we're gonna get into Jude Perry, Hot Woman Extraordinaire. We love, she's great. So basically what John's plan is to go, he's trying to find other avatars to get more information on rituals in general, but also being an avatar and like the stranger and all this situation. So the first one he runs into is this woman called Jude Perry. And she is she's an avatar of the desolation. He decides to hunt her down to get some answers. He gets very few answers, but he does get his hand burnt. She burns his hand. She gives him a statement about why she became an avatar. She's a fucked up little bastard who likes fire. And, like, good for her. But she also tells him where to find another avatar who's called Mike Crew. Yes, oh fuck, there's more than one character named Michael in this show. It's very confusing. They do this consistently. There's two Jareds. There's like 4 Michaels if you count the two versions of Michael as 2 separate characters.
At least they're realistic about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking Michaels. So this is Mike Crew. He's an avatar of the Lost, and basically, like, John shows up and he's like, "Give me your answers." And Mike's like, "I don't want to give answers. Do you want tea?" And John goes, "No, give me your answers." And Mike's like, "Well, fine. If you don't want tea, I'm gonna put you in a never-ending void where you'll fall for eternity while I give you your answers. Fuck you." It's the best shit ever. We love Mike Crew. He was also struck by lightning and got a pretty cool scar. So.
Sad.
He's cool.
Does the guy ever get out of the hole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, he's still sitting there. He's still, like, that's the image of what's happening. He's still sitting there. He just thinks that he is falling. Like, Mike curses him with the feeling of, like, constant vertigo.
That's
like,
fucking
falling.
stupid. Fuck that.
Yeah, it sucks. So,
That was it. That was mine.
He gives his statement. All is well and good. Yeah, no, Daisy's here. Daisy's here. She's tracked them down. So John is kidnapped round 1. Daisy kidnaps both John and Mike because she found them. She's very good at tracking. So she drags them to this secret location and she puts a bullet in Mike's head. Like, he's immediately dead. I hope you didn't like him.
Rest in peace, Michael.
Yeah, rest in peace, you glorious bastard.
Which Michael?
Yeah. Rest in peace, Mike Crew. You were a glorious fucking bastard.
No, not Mike Crew.
So she almost kills John, but Basira comes in with the steel sense of morality, and is like, we can't kill him, but I'll tell you what we can do, because he's got funky little eye powers. He can make people tell him the truth. Because he's from the eye. He can, like, pull your story out of you. Yeah, it's called compelling. It's like he can pull your story out of you. It's why I love this. They give a statement. They give a reason for why all the statements are like so eloquent and like well written and well spoken out instead of just someone rambling for like 30 minutes. It's because of his powers. Because he pulls the story out of you.
That's so cool.
And it's so fucking cool.
Wait. Question. But what about? So those are the statements from like people he's talking to directly. But what about the others? Like before that.
What
like,
do you mean?
When he's like reading off.
The previous archivist had the same power.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the power transfers with the archivist. So so she had that power as well.
Okay.
That kind of leads into one of my questions. It's like, so do you choose to become an avatar, or is it sort of like does it depend on the entity of how that happens?
We talked about that a little bit earlier. Some people choose. Some people just get dragged into it. It really depends on the situation. Okay. Yeah, like John got hired as the archivist, so he didn't know about the eye. He didn't like choose, but he was like given that position. Like, you are going to be an entity, an avatar now.
Whereas Hot Lady
Jude back here,
like very much wanted to become a wax person.
She searched it out. She was like, "I want to kill some people." It was great.
Fuck me up.
Also, she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So Basira's like, "We can't kill John, but I'll tell you what we can do. I'm suspicious of this Elias motherfucker, so why don't we get John to compel Elias to tell us if he's being a little shit," which I think he is, and he is. But so Daisy's like, "Actually, yes, I would also like to forcibly pull words out of this bastard's mouth, so let's go do that." So instead of killing John, they're bringing him back to the Institute. So fun fact, compelling doesn't work on Elias.
Oh, why?
Elias is also an avatar of the Eye, and a very powerful one at that. So you can't really compel. It's like you can't kill fire with more fire.
Two magnets.
Yeah, it's like two magnets don't work. He says it feels tingly. Like he's like. The previous archivist never tried to do this to me before, so I didn't know what it was like. It's kind of tingly. This is fun. And John's like, yeah, he's a fully fledged avatar of the Eye. What did you think was going to happen? So it's not just Tim. Like I said before, this is where it's revealed everybody is stuck at the Institute. You cannot leave. Once you're hired, you're fucking stuck. Sorry about it. Enjoy your day. Also, extra fun fact, John's not really human anymore. Oh. He's leaned too much into it. He's leaned too far into it well, not really leaned into it, but like he's done it too much. And he's gone too far.
He's fallen and he can't get up.
Exactly. He's fallen and he can't get up. So John's like, "Am I human?" And Elias is like, "Answer that yourself, dude," and like leaves. It's fun. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
This is so good.
Yeah, it's so fun. So anyway, back to business. John's here now. Whatever. And the cops who were looking for him, Elias is like, "Oh, he's fine. He's cleared." So he can get back to work. Get back over here. Get to work, you fucking troll.
Elias's worst character trait is making sure you only take a 15-minute
Honest to God, he's a capitalist and I hate him. Oh man.
He's a capitalist with the power to force you to never leave.
Well, he doesn't have that power. That's the Institute itself.
Gotcha, but
It's
he's
like-
your
it's
boss
like
in the
fun.
Institute, so you can't leave.
Yeah, exactly. So now that this is all out in the open, and like Daisy and Basira and all them, they all know what's going on with the rituals. Daisy and John are now teaming up to try and hunt down more avatars for info on the unknowing, because they're like, well, the unknowing is coming up, so now I guess we have to stop that now that Gertrude's not here. So they find out that the stranger and all the avatars of the stranger are looking for this thing called a gorilla skin. Just like,
What?
They're looking for a gorilla skin.
Why?
Because they want to use it in the ritual. It's a special gorilla skin. The problem is it was stolen by Gertrude. John doesn't know where it is, and neither does anyone else.
Isn't it like canonically the oldest skin?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
something.
okay.
There's something special about it. I don't remember
What?
what's special about the gorilla skin.
Like-
it's just a funky skin.
Yeah, they said it was like, this is the oldest skin in the world.
They're like, this is a funky gorilla skin. The idea is like the stranger is, it's not really real. You know, it looks real, but it's not. So like this, like taxidermy and the skin of a gorilla is like a big deal. It's like, ooh, look at this. It looks like it's real, but it's not.
They
Wow.
also like circuses.
They're really big on circus.
They like to be a traveling circus.
The fact that it's the first skin, though, is on the edge of something really uncomfortable because they're the mimicry of humanity, right? That's the thing that makes them scary.
Yeah.
So if their source of power is the original, that kind of implies that we are mimicry.
You're thinking too much about that.
Well, it's the original gorilla skin. I don't think you can think too much about that.
No, it's not that it's the first gorilla skin, it's that it's the oldest skin on the planet.
So it's not the first
oldest
one, yeah.
preserved skin.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
not like the atom birth.
No.
No, it's just like, this is a really old skin.
Fucking
Cool.
shell.
Yeah, and there are like other things can work
First
too.
gorilla.
Yeah,
but we
which
just
we're gonna
rather
get
have
into.
this
We're gonna get
one.
into that there are other things that can work, but they're just really fixated on this one.
We're all thinking way too much about this gorilla skin,
So-
clearly.
Who has ever watched a clown and thought to themselves, boy, I wish that thing never got tired.
What?
This is Nicola Orsanov.
What the fuck is that?
This is Nicola Orsanov. They are an avatar of the stranger. They're a fucking doll that can move. They were made by this other dude called Orsanov, and they killed him and stole his name.
Yeah.
Also kind of his
that's
face.
the wave.
Yeah, they were basically so. Yeah, thanks. I hate it. I hate Nicola Orsanov. I hate it so much. It's like
voice.
The voice is like this, and it's really disturbing, and I hate it. It's like the worst shit ever. So she breaks into Georgie's house while John is there and shuts off all the lights and basically tells John if he doesn't find the skin, they're going to tear him up. They're going to kill him.
They're gonna use his.
Yeah.
They start moisturizing.
They're like, you know what? Either you bring us this skin or we're just gonna use yours, motherfucker. And John's like, okay, how much time do I have? And Nicola goes, whenever I get bored is when I'm gonna come for you. That's your timetable. My boredom. And it's like, okay. And so she leaves, and that's the situation now, is that John has until she gets bored to find the skin.
Bro, give that lady a DS.
Honestly.
So here's a switch. We got some fucking Binding of Isaac on here. You know?
Year one Xbox One, no game.
Yeah.
Here's a 16-hour JoJo lecture.
You
so
like Rise
back
on
at the
phone?
institute, Melanie is simultaneously the smartest and dumbest one here because she's like, you know what? What if? Okay, so we're all stuck here, right? And Elias knows that we're stuck here. What if we kill Elias? What if we kill Elias and then then we're all free? What if we do that? And so she tries to poison his coffee, and she also has a little knife in her back pocket just in case like the poison doesn't work to just restore it to stabbing. But Elias looks at it and goes, you know, I know what a poisoned drink looks like, right? Like you poison this and you have a knife in your back pocket. Fun fact, I'm slightly omnipotent, bitch. so
Slightly.
Yeah, slightly. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that later. He can't see everything all at the same time. He has to focus on one specific thing. So if like he's focusing on one thing, he can't see something else. But he's like, I saw you fucking try and poison this coffee. Also, coffee does not dissolve things very well. Fun fact, bitch. And so, good try, Melanie. You tried. It was a good try.
Does anyone know if that's true about coffee?
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't do
the
anything about
Magnus
it?
Institute, you can poison. No, he literally does nothing. He's just like, yeah, good try, and makes her turn around.
What a what a penis! Oh my,
sensei.
what a badass! Oh my god.
There's also some level of implication that the Magnus Institute, like, it is like a real corporation. Like, it's a real institute in society.
Yep.
And so there are real people running it, and like they're just sort of like on the periphery. Like, there's just this one department.
Like the archives are just specifically the
like,
fucked up boys.
Yeah, but like there are other people who are like living normal lives and like working there, and like there's an HR department.
There is an HR department.
Bro, why don't we just call them?
You think they can do shit against this guy?
Hey, this alliance guy's kind of weird. Can we do something about this?
So they're like the 3 a.m. shift
Magnus
to Walmart.
Archives versus the Magnus Archives if Melanie had just called HR.
Elias is gonna know he gets a letter on his desk, but he's not gonna be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, there's an old guy living in the tunnel.
Hello, HR.
Help.
We're gonna have to get
There's
HR, I saw my boss then.
worms down here. Like exterminating. Alright, so yeah, Melanie tried. Yeah, girl boss, she tried. Good for her. At least she's the only one trying. Like, she's the only one who's like, I'm gonna kill my boss. And this is the only.
Your boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So John is kidnapped round two.
The fuck. The fuck.
Round
Big
two
ass
with dolls.
hand.
That's Michael.
Yo.
That's Michael.
Oh, like Mike Crew?
No, that's the first Michael.
Oh, Mike first. Okay.
Yeah.
Long Michael.
So
Long Michael.
Has Michael gotten longer?
Nicola got bored. Nicola got bored. So she's decided that they're gonna kidnap John and tear his skin off.
Yeah.
That's the new plan.
Yo,
And
horny.
John.
Let's go.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm gonna tear your skin off, and then Michael shows up through a door, and he's like, listen,
Linda.
I'm not a fan of the stranger. I don't like the stranger. I don't want the stranger to rule the world. This sucks for me specifically. So why don't you come through my door here? I'm gonna get you out of here, and we're gonna send you back to the institute.
Come through
John's
my
like,
door.
give me a statement. And Michael's like, Jesus Christ, fine. And we find out that Michael was actually, before he was this, he was one of Gertrude's assistants. She threw him to the spiral. She threw him in the doorway and stuck him there until he was this.
Girl boss has got a gatekeep.
Girl boss has got a gatekeep. So, I honestly can't remember the reason why she did that.
It was to disrupt the ritual for the spiral.
Right. Okay, so yeah, the spiral tried to do its own ritual, and Gertrude was like, joke's on you, have a boy! And like just threw Michael in there.
Have a little dude, a little guy, a little man.
a little guy.
My favorite part about the spiral is the fact that like it's one of the most disjointed entities. So this one is like the one that's associated with like mirrors and doors and like going through things and getting stuck in labyrinths. There's another version of the spiral that's obsessed with fractals, and they seem to have a rivalry with each other.
Yeah. But then Michael's like, yeah, I don't want you to be. Michael kind of fucks up a little bit. He's like, look, I'm me. I am Michael. And the spiral's like, you're not an individual, whore. And slams the door back on him, and Michael kind of gets vaporized. Michael vaporizes himself.
Ouchie, my
by
ass.
becoming a bit too individual.
Bro just achieved enlightenment.
But don't worry, because we've got someone waiting in the wings to take Michael's place.
Oh, Michael's dead?
Michael is now dead. Yes.
Oh, we lost two Michaels.
Michael. Our Michael count.
Why
So
you write
low.
them?
So we have someone waiting in the wings to take Michael's place. Meet Helen. This is Helen. So there was an earlier statement that I didn't mention at the time where she was a real estate agent. She's also a Tory. And she found this weird door in this house that she was trying to sell. She went through it, and it was a spiral hallway, and she managed to escape. But then she got stuck back in it again after she gave her statement. So now, since Michael wanted to be a little bitch and be individual, we have Helen now. Helen is now our spiral. This is Helen. So, yeah, so she decides, she still saves John. She's like, yeah, we still, just because Michael was a bitch doesn't mean we still want the stranger to, like, be a thing, so you can come with us. So he goes through, so she saves him and sends him back home. Yay. And behind him, Nicola's like, fuck! Where am I supposed to get a skin now? So that's Helen. She's cool. She's wacky. The fan art of Helen is wild. There's some really good Helen fan art.
I think it also should be noted that while we've talked about the entities sort of not actually being distinct from each other, if their specific followers bring them in through a ritual, then they become the paradigm through which all the other entities are understood.
Yeah.
So they don't want another entity's ritual to succeed, so they're all vying against
It's like, yeah, they don't want, like, if the stranger's ritual succeeds, the Sparrow's like, I don't want the stranger to be my fucking boss. Like, that's not fun. So that's basically the vibe that's going on. Is like, I don't, fuck that. So anyway, now we're gonna take a left turn into a supernatural spin-off. John is now searching the world for more information on the unknowing, because, like, fuck, we gotta stop this, and I still don't know how to. And he runs into Julia and Trevor. Remember those fun little hunters that I mentioned at the very beginning of this slideshow? They're monster hunters, and they give him this book. And this book has the soul of Jared Key in it. You know, that goth boy that I don't give a shit about. Basically his mom had this weird thing about preserving souls in books because she was really into Lightners. His mom's fucked up. We don't like his mom. So his soul is now stuck in this book, and the hunters are like, yeah, sure, you can have it for answers, but we want it back because it tells us stuff about monsters that we need to know. And John's like, sure, I'll give it back to you. He does not. He does not. He steals the book.
John?
He steals the book. He gets the information out of Jerry about the unknowing. Jerry basically tells him, like, she had this weird storage place. She had this weird, like, storage, what are they called?
Facility?
Storage? No, not the, the ones that you can rent out.
Personal storage?
Pod? Yeah, like the...
Like a pod or something?
Storage garages, like the
Box.
things that you can rent out.
Unit.
What? Yeah, unit.
Storage unit.
She has this storage unit. And John's like, cool, thanks. And Jerry's like, cool, can you fucking kill me? And John's like,
please.
Yes, I can do that. And takes the book and leaves. He kills him later. I don't really talk about it much because it like doesn't super matter after he has the information. But yeah, he does destroy Jerry's page, therefore finally freeing him from being stuck in this stupid book.
Is it sad?
Not really. He like
Nice.
He's like kind of like there's a fire and he just kind of goes, I don't know if I want to do this. Yeah, I do, and drops it and it just burns and it's like, cool, that's done. Jerry's gone. Bye.
Imagine that just being your life.
Jerry had a fucked up life. It's why people love him so much because he's very much I can save him. And
I
it's
can
like,
fix him.
He's dead. No,
I
you
can fix
can't.
him.
So anyway, they know. So they go to this storage unit, and they find a shitload of bombs. They find C4 in there, a lot of C4, and also the gorilla skin, but that's not important anymore because like the stranger has stopped looking for the gorilla skin because they're just like fuck you, we don't care anymore. And they figured out Tim, genius that he is, has figured out where the unknowing is going to take place because Tim had a brother who died to the stranger.
No.
Like years ago. His name was Danny, and now Tim has a fucking vendetta. And he's angry at his job, and he's angry at the stranger, and he's about to go ham, and he says, what if I just blew up the fucking circus? So they're gonna blow up the fucking circus.
I like Tim's arc. How I feel like Tim has had like a separate arc to the rest of the story.
Oh, he
so
has.
far. We just
I don't
have like this random.
That's the one thing that sucks about doing the presentation on the Magnus Archives this way is because I've like boiled it down to like what matters in the long haul.
Yeah.
You don't get Tim gets a really interesting arc over this where he's like where he's trying to cope with leaving and like not being able to leave and being stuck and like the death of Sasha, which he doesn't believe for a really long time. He's like, there's no way that something took Sasha, and it's a while before he like learns to like accept that and figure it out, and he never really does. And like, and going into this where he's like, we're gonna blow up the circuit. It's like it's a really interesting arc, but I can't get into it or else we'd be here for like 6 years if I were to get into like every single character's really cool separate arc.
The first 6-year lecture.
Yeah, exactly. So the dream team decides to head out. John, Tim, Basira, and Daisy are gonna go blow up the fucking circus, and it's great. We're gonna blow up the fucking circus because I figured out when and where the unknowing is going to take place.
Is that
It's not funny.
I hear the name of that goddamn town one more time. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
I hate all of you. I'm gonna leave.
And cease to be vaporized
Then you
milk.
won't be able to finish your lecture.
Have fun walking to Towson.
That too. Have fun walking to Towson.
Alright, anyway. So, while they go off to blow up the fucking circus, Melanie's still like, guys, can we please kill this fucker? And it's like, okay, well, if we can't kill him, I have a different plan. So remember how I said earlier about how Elias has omnipotence, but it's selective omnipotence? He has to be focused on something. So she gets Martin to distract him by sitting in the... He goes and sits in the archives and just starts burning statements. He just starts burning all the statements, and like it's really funny because like he locks the door. Shit. And Elias is knocking on the door. He's like, Martin, let me in. And Martin goes, I can't hear you. There's a door in the way, and burns another one.
Now you can't do anything to me. Okay.
Okay, are we going?
I have a camera. Yeah.
I'm filming this.
Whoa, there's something very wrong with this camera.
Who posted my news on
Okay, it's back.
Alright, so, as I was saying, Martin basically is burning statements as a distraction, and while he's doing this, Melanie sneaks into Elias's office and finds evidence that he killed Jurgen Leitner. Woo! Gaslight gatekeep girl boss, we love to see it. And she gets out of the office without him noticing, because the thing about this is, while this is happening, Elias is kind of inflicting mass amounts of psychic trauma on Martin.
Nice.
He basically, like, Martin has a very strained relationship with his mother, and he does, like, this whole thing where he's, like, his mom is a single mom, and he looks at Martin, he's like, the reason your mom hates you is because you look just like your dad. And it's like, what the fuck? Elias, so, yeah, he gets a bit of trauma, but it's okay because Melanie gets, like, a thing out of it. Like, Melanie comes downstairs, she comes back downstairs, she's like, are you good? And he's like, did you get it? Just tell me you got it. And she's like, yeah, I got it. And he's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go cry now, bye. And it's like a whole situation. But yeah, now we've got evidence against Elias in our back pocket. The unknowing is the biggest mindfuck humanity has ever seen. We're gonna get into the unknown. Basically, reality starts falling apart.
Of course it does.
I love Fire Force.
Well, because the thing about the stranger is like it's the thing about things not being real, you know. So what happens when they're in there is they start forgetting like what, like at one point like one of them has a gun. I don't remember which one, and a person in there says, "Do you even know what you're holding right now? Do you know what a hand is?" And it's like, and they're like, "I don't." I don't know who I am, I don't know who you are. Different voice actors play different characters, like voices are swapping around, and it's like it's a mind fuck.
That's fun.
You almost have to read the transcript alongside this one to understand what the fuck is going on. But anyway, let's catch up with our intrepid heroes. How do they handle the unknowing? Tim goes on a kayaking trip.
Good for Tim.
He's just kidding. He dies.
Aww.
There's a whole fandom joke about how no, Tim didn't die. He went on a really, really long kayaking trip. He's fine. But no, he sets off the bomb to explode the entire unknowing and gets caught in the blast and dies. So that's how Tim's doing. Daisy falls in a casket.
Is it the coffin?
Yes.
Damn.
Breakin and Hope are there with the coffin.
Oh, they're just...
Daisy falls into it. Also, by this point, it's made very clear that because Daisy is a cop and she's, like we said earlier, she's very good at tracking, Daisy is connected to the hunt. Unwilling.
Okay,
she's a hunt avatar. So
she also canonically abuses her police powers in order to hunt down people that she
she's
views as
a
guilty.
cop and a bastard.
I like that the police are canonically associated with a demon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. Well, not all of them. Well, some of them, but it's Daisy.
Most of them.
Daisy. In
Not
particular.
all cops.
No,
Not
Daisy. That's not what I meant.
You said it. It's on the internet, Becky.
No, fuck that.
The police are portrayed very unfavorably in the show.
It's nice.
Incompetent, manipulative, and abusive.
Is that really portrayal?
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so yeah.
Which is big for 2016.
Yeah. Daisy, she faces off against the two guys with the coffin, manages to take out one of them. She kills one of the guys with the coffin, but falls in. But falls in herself.
Didn't her partner also get, like, coffined? Or was that someone else?
Basira just fucking leaves.
Ah.
Literally. She's like, in this unknowing, she's like, because she doesn't know who she is or what she's doing. She's like, okay, I'm gonna take a step.
Yeah.
And then another step. I'm just gonna keep going. She just fucking leaves in the middle of this huge fight.
Yeah,
this huge, terrifying ritual fight. She's like, bye, I'm gonna go. And it's great.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'm putting together my roster of characters.
Be like, damn, that's scary.
John puts himself in a coma.
Oh.
John is also too close to the blast, but he doesn't immediately die the way Tim does.
Not Jonathan Magnus Archives.
He just gets knocked the fuck out. So good job, everyone.
You got unknowed.
They did it.
Not human.
POV, you're not human. Yeah. So, and back at we locked up the capitalist. Back at the institute, Melanie uses the evidence, and Elias gets locked up, and for the murder of Jürgen Leitner, even though he probably should have gotten the medal. But yay, I guess. Half your squad is dead and or missing.
Problematic clock is woke twice a day.
Yep. You know what? Sure. So that's season 4. But
we still got one more?
We got 2 more.
Oh,
that's season 3. I mean, sorry. We got 2 more. So the special Jesus Christ What the Fuck award for this season goes to Mag 86 Tucked In, which is an episode about a guy who sees a monster in the dark of his bedroom, but if he hides under the covers, he's fine. And then at the very end, the monster gets complacent and doesn't hold it tight enough, and the monster says, "By the way, the blanket never did anything," and kills him.
That's a Twilight Zone episode.
It's so fucking terrifying.
It is good though.
It's a good one. It's a really good one, but it's also what the fuck. Because the blanket never did anything. That one gave me nightmares, actually.
I'm gonna write a song called that. The Blanket Never Did Anything.
Season 4. I'm rolling with the LGBT. Yeah! From this point on, literally every single member of the main cast is gay. Every single one. And it's amazing. Every single one is queer from this point out, and it's fucking excellent. John is canonically asexual, and I think that's fucking great.
Let's go, gang shit.
So, yeah.
Canonically asexual and has a romantic history with people who respected his asexuality.
Yes! Fuck! They knew how to write good gay rep, and it was fantastic. So anyway, let's start this season. So John's in a fucking coma. And we get to meet this lovely person. His name's Oliver Banks, and he's an avatar of the end. And so, since John is like in a coma, kind of like half dead but not really dead, Oliver shows up to the hospital and basically tells him, "Listen, dude, you need to you're fighting it right now because you don't want to lose your humanity," which I get it, but bestie, if you want to wake up again, you gotta accept the eye, dude. You can't just fucking ditch it. Sorry about it. And so after that, John wakes up. Because he accepts the eye, and I too would awake from a coma for Oliver Banks. I would awake from a coma for Oliver Banks, as would most of this fandom. So
is Oliver Banks is he part of the rich cabal of avatars?
No.
Or is he just a guy?
He's just a guy.
Okay.
This is what I mean when I say the end avatars are really chill. Because they're just we're gonna get you eventually, dude. I don't know what you want to do about it.
We don't have to do much to facilitate
yeah, it's
death.
Whatever. So that's Oliver. He's very cool. So how's the Institute been doing when John's been in a coma? Not good. Not really all that great. So on the list we have Daisy's gone. Tim's dead. Helen is here for some reason and is also kind of a friend. We're not 100% certain on that.
Helen's bringing donuts, no one will eat them.
Quite literally. So everyone else is still stuck despite Elias being in jail because they all figured if they put Elias away or got him away from the Institute, it would be enough to free them. No, it's not. And also, a lot of monsters are trying to kill the Institute right now because of what happened at the Unknowing. They're like, oh shit, the archivist is back. we thought that bitch was dead, but now there's a second one. So
How many
they're
times
being
you gotta
attacked
teach you this
all
lesson,
the time, and it's not fun. And Martin, his mom died, and so now he's working for
Cloud.
fucking okay.
From
Peter. Peter doesn't like being perceived. He fucked with this fucking. Really? Did you have to do this? Left the sliding because I thought it was funny. This is Peter Lucas. Gentle voiced old man, I love you. This is an avatar of the lonely. He's friends with Elias. He's running the Institute while Elias is gone. And he would hate that he has a wiki page, for one. He's really into ships. He's been in a few statements before this where he's a captain of this one ship that likes to sacrifice people. It's like
okay.
This whole thing. He's also been married to and then divorced from Elias at least 40 times.
How old are these fuckers?
That's a running fandom joke because their dynamic is very divorced couple energy. So the fandom started making a joke that they've been married and gotten divorced and married and divorced like 40 times. And the creator of the show was like, I'm not gonna write that into canon, but I need you to know that was the exact dynamic I was hoping you would get from them. So
do we like Peter? Is Peter better than...
I like Peter. Look at him. He's got a cool beard. He's got a little coat. He's got a nice pipe. He smokes and he's holding something I can't quite see.
Do you talk about the spaceship?
He's doing a little one of these,
No,
maybe.
unfortunately. Can I do a quick interlude on the
go
spaceship?
for the spaceship. The spaceship's fun.
So, like, 3 of the avatars have, like, this dynasty of... or 3 of the entities have this dynasty of avatars. So the Lucases are entities of the lonely, and so like their whole family, like Peter was raised into becoming an avatar.
He has 4 siblings, but he considers himself an only child because 2 of them ran away, and the other 2 were deemed unfit for the lonely and were sent away.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole thing. He was the only one who was like...
Then the one for the Void is also super rich, Fairchild.
Yes.
And then I think Elias is the 3rd one?
No.
No?
It counts as a dynasty, but it's not like a family thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into that later.
I don't know, maybe there's another one, but they, because there are 3. But basically they're 3 old-ass families. Some of them are like semi-immortal-ish. And they're super fucking rich from being avatars.
From being shitty people.
Yeah. Being completely okay with unethical, immoral actions. And so they use their money to build a spaceship and put people on the spaceship who they can just torment. It's a torment machine. They put them in the spaceship, and then they send the spaceship into space, and they're like, great, so we've got loneliness, the darkness. We've got loneliness, we've got isolation, or we've got the void, and then we've got the dark. And
I'm convinced this is what Elon Musk is secretly doing.
This is what Jeff Bezos is doing.
This is what Jeff Bezos is doing, I'm convinced.
Wait, so is that what was happening in that one episode with the guy who signed up for that experiment? Where they
Yeah.
okay.
And so we get the statements of I think it's 3 or 4 people, and so one of them was literally just locked in a dark room. One of them was he thought that he was up there alone, and then 2 of them were there for the void, so they could sort of look out and see things, and then at one point I think they get stuck outside the spaceship and they lose their fucking mind, and there's a creature out there, and they're like, oh my fucking god! It's a creature bigger than the planet.
Creature is demonic in nature.
But yeah, no, they just made a bunch of money, and then they sent
people to space.
People to space. It's
I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
It's their fun little jigsaw thing.
So yeah, Peter here is part of a dynasty family called the Lucases, which are very big on the lonely, and they're also benefactors of the Institute. So yeah, so he.
Ooh, I don't like that the demons are investing in the Institute.
No one does, but they do. So that's Peter. So Martin's working with Peter, basically, at this point. So John makes his triumphant return and immediately gets stabbed by Melanie. Or at least she attempts to, because Melanie's very angry that John survived and, no one else did. Because, Basira's okay, but Daisy's dead, Tim's dead, no one knows what the fuck happened to Martin.
Wait.
So where's Basira?
Basira's... She got out. She's here.
Oh, okay.
She's fine.
Wait, so what happens just to the people that go in the coffin exactly? Do we know?
We're gonna figure that out.
Okay.
Because as far as we know, Daisy's gone.
Yeah.
As far as we know, Daisy is fucking dead at this point. So Melanie is angry, and she's also really freaked out because the explosion that killed Tim should have killed John. Like, by all sense of reality, that explosion should have killed him. It did not. So Melanie is 100% aware that John is not human right now, and that fucks her up and she tries to kill him. But it doesn't work. So, but even for Melanie, John's like, this is a little bit spicy. Like, she's really fucking pissed and really trying to stab me. That seems off. Remember the statement? She gave a statement earlier, I mentioned it very briefly, where a ghost shot her in the leg. The ghost bullet is still inside of her and is connected to the slaughter. So she is being pulled into the slaughter the longer this bullet stays in her leg. Which, if you'll recall, the slaughter is brutal, pointless violence. So that's why she tried to stab him, is she's being infected by the slaughter. So he and Basira team up to, like, basically hold her down and cut the bullet out of her leg. And she does get to stab him at that point, because she stabs him in retaliation because you're cutting something out of my leg without my consent. What the fuck is wrong with you? But he does get the ghost bullet out.
How do you cut out a ghost bullet?
With a ghost knife.
With a ghost knife. You just do it. You just go, oh shit, there's a ghost bullet in there. I'm gonna
You get a formerly human entity, and you get a ghost knife, and that's that.
And you save a girl. You save Melanie. And it's okay. It's all good.
This has been Shaka You on ghost surgery.
This has all been leading up to a ghost surgery lecture. Alright.
Are you qualified to teach us this?
So,
a ghost with a human bullet in it, that's where it gets complicated.
yeah, that's where the fun comes in.
I thought the ghost could just phase through the bullet.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
It would.
No, because he used like hockey on the bullet.
So, anyway, over here, Peter is really leaning into the gaslight portion of the gaslight gatekeep girl boss when it comes to Martin. So he has Martin convinced that the best way to protect everyone else in the Institute...
God, this is so fucking sad.
I know, it's really sad, is to avoid them all. So he's been slowly pulling Martin into the lonely this entire time.
HR, this is a hostile work environment.
So John, over the course of the season, John keeps trying to talk to Martin, and Martin just keeps like, no, like, and just like going away. Like, at one point, I think, doesn't he literally disappear? At one point,
People stop being able to see him.
Yeah.
Like, he'll like walk into a room and no one will acknowledge it, and then he's like,
hi,
hello. And then they're like, oh, God.
and they get to a point where he like never says hello.
Yeah.
Because he's convinced that the best way to like protect everyone is to like hide and help Peter.
Really playing hard to get.
Oh, also, bonus, Jonah Magnus was a fucking dick. Jonah Magnus is the guy who founded the Institute.
I thought for the longest time that Jonah was a woman's name.
Yeah, no. Jonah Magnus was the founder of the Institute. Peter, like talks about him a little bit. He's like, yeah, he sucked. Anyway, Peter didn't know him. Peter, like, was born long after him, but he's like, yeah.
Wait, do we get lore about why he built it?
Not
He
necessarily.
was basically a Jürgen Leitner, but he sort of, instead of trying to collect fucked up books,
He was just like, what if I did this for the eye?
yeah, what if I interviewed people? He was a sociologist at heart, and he was running ethnographic interviews and using manifested latent coding.
Yeah, basically, so yeah, we're gonna get more into Jonah Magnus later, but for now all you need to know is he founded the Institute and he was a dick. Here we go. So, remember the guys with the coffin? They're back! Breakin makes a friendly visit with the coffin. He's really fucking depressed. Because if you'll recall, Daisy killed Hope. Daisy killed the other one.
Oh.
And yes, the symbolism of Daisy killing Hope is not lost on me. But,
Wait, what's the symbolism of Daisy killing
his name
Hope?
was Hope.
Hope. Tyler,
Killing
hope.
Like the concept of hope.
Oh.
Film student over here.
Alright, I'm done.
No, you stay here. You finish what you started.
So this is the first time Breakin has been alone ever. Since the dawn of his creation, as far back as he can remember, it's always been him and Hope. So this is the first time he's been alone. He doesn't know what to do. So he gives the coffin over to the Institute. Basically disappears. Like, I don't know what really happens to him after that. He just disappears. And John and Basira are like, Daisy's in there. But neither of them feel ready to go in because it's a giant ass coffin that says "Do not open" and has like weird sounds coming from it. Of course, you don't want to like jump in. Yeah.
It moans when it rains.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. So here's the thing. John's like, all right, we gotta go in there. But if I'm gonna go in there, I don't want to lose my way. I want an anchor back. So what do you do when you need an anchor back to the real world?
Get a fucking anchor.
You talk to the scary bone man who lives in the tunnels.
The bone man?
The
Tunnels.
fucking scrankly bankly.
We're gonna talk to the Scrankly Bankly. This is Jared Hopworth. He attacked the Institute. He is a avatar of the flesh. He has a lot of fucking bones. And basically,
They're not all his.
They're not all his. He's stolen.
I have a lot of bones too, but they're all mine. You can't have them.
So basically, John goes down into the tunnels and he's like, listen, could you take out one of my ribs? And so I could use that? And Jared's like, yeah, I'll take out one of your ribs. You have to give me a second one though. So John's like, okay, fine. So John loses 2 ribs to the bone man, Jared, and Jared gives him back one, but like puts the other one inside him. He's like, cool. More ribs.
Bro.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you for the extra rib, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, he can blow himself now. Con, it doesn't matter because he's ace.
Yeah, so John has his own rib now. There's actually a really funny part, like later on in the show, where someone's like looking through his desk, and she opens a desk drawer, and she goes, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "Oh, that's my rib." It's really funny and awkward. It's great. So he's got an anchor now, but that means that he can go into the coffin. And he goes down there, and the coffin is linked to the buried. The further you get down there, the smaller it gets until you cannot move at all. So that's where Daisy is. So he goes down there and he finds her pretty soon, but he's gone so far he can't feel his anchor anymore. So they're stuck down there for a little bit. Until someone Martin
Absolute horror.
Martin!
Is that, did you say Martin?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Someone puts a bunch of the tapes that John has recorded on top of the coffin, which strengthens the anchor and leads them back out. So Daisy and John are now both free. Also, Daisy, while in the coffin, she's scared, but she points out that a part of her likes it in there because she's completely cut off from the hunt. And she says she feels more herself than she has in ages, because she's no longer, like, driven by that intense need to hunt things down.
That's so fucked.
It really is, yeah. So that's Daisy. So here's where we talk about the academic discourse over the amount of entities. Peter believes that a new entity is in the process of emerging.
God, I hate this. I think he's right.
He's very much right. There's a 15th entity who is a massive fucking bitch who is known as the Extinction, and it's the fear that humans have that we will one day wipe ourselves out. No, it's the Extinction. And,
I feel fear of extinction isn't new.
yeah, but in this world it's considered to be a new situation.
So it's
Like-
not related to the end?
No.
It's not like new, but it's like came around during the Cold War.
Yeah,
and it has been like growing in power, and first it was kind of like a part of the slaughter and not part of the end, and then it sort of like...
In comparison to the other entities, it's the baby.
Yeah, but
idea.
when we were tiny tribes, we were always scared we were going to get sick and
Well,
wipe
this
our
is
little-
why this academic discourse of like, is it real or is it just a part of one of the others?
Because there's also a level of social construction, so you have to have like a discourse and an avatar and a following in order to define and represent.
It's also
the thing.
specifically connected to like nuclear
Yeah.
stuff.
It's
like very specifically like we are going to wipe ourselves out with nukes
It's like
or
the
some other
idea
thing.
that the world will be ended by humans, specifically humans, and that the world will go on, but we will not.
Yeah. It's
And
like,
that concept in itself is completely different from death.
yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
It has its connections with it. Like all the other entities, they're connected with each other, but there are specifics for
Yes.
each one. So it's like, yeah. So Peter's like, I think this is new. I think it hasn't been completely birthed yet. I want to stop that. Martin, do you want to help me stop that? Martin's like, well, I don't really have much of a choice here. So, so this is what they're working towards. Everything Peter does is he's like, I want to ditch the fucking execution because I don't like it. and I want my bitch to rule the world. So if this bitch gets born too early, that's gonna suck for me. And also they're worried because if like humans wipe themselves out, then what do the fears have to latch onto? Is like a big situation that a lot of them don't think about.
This is so cool and nuanced.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
So that happens all the time.
Okay.
It's meant to do that because that's how I get to the battery pack. So anyway, while that's happening, Mom says it's the Dark's turn to have a ritual. So the Dark has this thing called the Heart of Darkness that they're working on at the North Pole.
Oh, that's an SCP.
So Basira and John head to the North Pole to stop it. But the weird thing about this one is, by the time they get there, it's already been destroyed. It doesn't work. The ritual does not work. That's weird, right? Like, that shouldn't happen. If they weren't there to stop it, how did it just fucking burn out on its own? That's weird. Also, Helen gives them a ride back from the North Pole really quick, so, like, thanks, Helen. That's cool. So anyway, that happens. And, John's been, eating some fear.
Oh.
So, John...
Hated that episode.
Oh, man, yeah. So, John, basically, he's an avatar now, so he subsides on people's fear and getting statements from people. He gets sick if he does not read a statement for too long. And
Also,
if...
The statements are, like, stale. He wants a person.
Yeah, he wants to speak to a person and eat their story and eat their fear is basically the vibe that he's going through right now. So Basira is like, if you don't stop, I'll kill you. And
it's also, to be clear, it's not just like, oh, I'm making you retell the story and then like you're afraid during it and I eat that. You will have dreams for the rest of your life of the horrific experience that John forced you to tell him about.
Every single night, it's on loop forever. The worst situation you've ever been through is just for the rest of your life because he ate it. So, that's fun. So Basira's like, if you don't stop, I'll kill you. And John's like, well, I don't know if I can stop at this point because, like, if I don't have a statement for too long, I literally start dying. So, it's like, I can't do that. But then she points over at Daisy because Daisy, as we mentioned, she was cut off from the hunt while in the coffin. And now she is purposefully not hunting anything down. She is starving herself because she would rather die than go back to the hunt. At this point. So, Basira's like, you know, John, you're saying you can't do it, she's doing it right over there. She's making you look bad, is the whole situation. So yeah, John can't live without statements. Neither technically can Daisy.
Well, I'm sorry she has an eating disorder, but...
Oh my god, Tyler, that's so fucked up. But like, Daisy doesn't want to go back to the hunt, so she's purposefully starving herself at this point. Eric Delano, you fucking genius! We're gonna talk about Eric Delano because this motherfucker figured out how to leave the Institute years ago.
Yo!
They find it in a statement recorded by Gertrude, where this guy Eric Delano, he is Mary Key's husband and Jerry Key's father. Jared, the guy in the book from earlier, that's his father. He figured out how to quit the Institute. This is one little thing you gotta do. One tiny little thing. You gotta completely destroy your own eyes. Tear them out of your head, make them not work.
No,
that's what you gotta do.
I'm good.
You either tear out your own eyes or you're stuck forever.
I'll stick with the Institute. I like my eyes. I like seeing.
And now we get the oh my god. Hey Martin, do you want to gouge out your own eyes and run away together?
So romantic!
So romantic, a love story for the ages. John has no social skills whatsoever.
So he's like, is this how
I'm not even exaggerating. That is literally what happens. He reads the statement and he like runs to find Martin. He goes, Martin, I figured it out. I figured out how we could leave. And Martin's like, what? You have to gouge your eyes out or something? And John's like,
yup.
And Martin, this is the first time like Martin says fuck in the entire series. He goes, fuck off. It's like, yeah, we could do it together, right? We could leave and gouge our eyes together. And it's like you're not even dating yet, dude. Could you like take it a bit slower? Maybe ask him to dinner first? And of course, Martin rejects him because he's too deep in the lonely. He's stuck. He's like, I can't. He's like, no, I'm in this. Go away. Bye. And John figures out he can't go through with it. He's pretty sure, like, at this point, if he were to cut out his own eyes, he'd probably just straight up die. Because he's so in with the eye now. However, Melanie says, I can do it. And she does. Melanie burns her own eyes out with like hydraulic acid or something, some weird form of acid, and then goes to live with Georgie to recover. She escaped the fucking Institute. Melanie did it.
Good for Melanie.
It should
Yeah.
also be noted that Georgie is in many ways immune to the fears now because
Yes.
she has nothing to give them. A fun thing that happens every once in a while in statements is if you just stop being afraid of what's happening to you, they'll leave you alone. There's a woman who's on a subway car. She's the only one in the subway car.
That was
and
so
then
fucked up.
it starts going down, and she's like, "Oh, this is kind of freaky." And then it keeps going down, and then like the dirt starts coming in through the windows, and then the subway car starts to be like crushed under the pressure of the earth, and she's aware that she's going to like be
Die.
buried alive.
Buried alive.
She's just sort of like, I'm just gonna sit here, and if I get to my destination, I get to my destination, and if I don't, I'm not really gonna think about it, and I'm just gonna sit here, and I'm gonna take a little nap. And then she, like, wakes up, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
Because she just remained calm. Or like Helen, who escaped the spiral the first time, was just sort of like, if I calm down, if I think rationally, I'm just gonna get through this, and then she does.
Mm-hmm. And then she gets back in.
And then she gets pulled back in because of the existential trauma and horror that's haunting her. So
That's
like,
also why Joshua Gillespie lived. Because he was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna figure out a way out of this. Like,
Yeah.
You're not gonna like get me. I'm gonna put the key in the fucking icebox, and we're gonna be fine.
yeah. So if you
Oh my goodness, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
if you don't have fear for the entities to take, they can't
Hurt you. Yeah. So Georgie and Melanie's now cut off from the eye. Georgie has no fear. So that's gonna come into play later. We're gonna talk about that more. But yeah, this is both the funniest and one of the saddest moments in the whole series because John is so desperate that it's both hilarious and sad. Because it's like, dude, again, you're literally like running in to talk to a guy you barely spoken to the past like couple weeks and
simping so hard,
begging him to cut out his own eyes for you. It's like, he's great. But anyway, now that that's over, it's time to explore the tunnels some more. So Peter basically tells Martin that like the time has come or whatever, and he's like, we're gonna go down into the tunnels because I have something to show you. And Martin's like, okay, am I gonna come back? And Peter's like, oh well, you won't die. I'm not sure if you'll come back, but you won't die. And it's like, cool, thanks Peter. But Martin goes down anyway. And while that's happening, all hell breaks loose upstairs. Remember how I said things have been attacking the Institute for various reasons? Julia's back.
Who?
Trevor's back. The Hunters. They're mad because John stole their book. They're mad. And also, it's unveiled at this point that both of these two have basically succumbed to the hunt at this point. They have both been, like, completely taken over by the hunt because of their job and what they do. So they're mad that they want the book. Also, Not Sasha gets let out of the wall by Peter. Remember Not Sasha? We didn't kill her. We locked her away. And she's unleashed now, and she's angry. Elias casually waltzes out of prison. And all of these things converge at the Institute at the exact same time.
If you have sensory processing disorders, I would recommend reading the transcript because there's a lot.
There's a lot
There's
going
a lot.
on. It's gonna be a party up in here. It's a lot of things to process happening all at the same time. But anyway, while that's happening, down below, welcome to the Panopticon. We have this funky little building that Peter leads Martin to. You all know what a Panopticon is, right?
It's that thing in the prison where you look around the
Yes, but explain it to the people at home.
It's a prison designed where every single prisoner is being watched all hours of the day. Like there's a watchtower in the center of the room that can view every single cell all at the same time. So
Yes.
Well, yeah.
But the idea is you don't know if you're being watched,
Yeah.
so you act as if you are.
Yeah. Because it's impossible to be watched all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is you don't know.
Big thing in sociology.
Yeah. So the eye is like really big on that idea because the eye is all about watching people. So there's one underneath in the tunnels that the tunnels lead to. And so Peter takes Martin there, and there's this dead body in there that's like missing its eyes. That's fucking weird, right? that body is Jonah Magnus, the original founder. And Martin's like, what the fuck? What do I do?
Holy shit.
And Peter's like, you're gonna kill it. And then Martin's like, what? But right before Martin can do anything, Elias shows up. Where are those eyes? They're inside Elias's head.
Oh.
What?
Jonah Magnus has been body swapping for centuries.
What?
Elias Bouchard is not Elias Bouchard, he is Jonah Magnus.
What?
Still watching over the Institute. Yeah. It's fucking awesome. It's such a good reveal. It's so fucking good. So, Jonah Magnus has been body swapping for fucking centuries. Like, literally, since the beginning of the Institute. Every single CEO of the Institute has been Jonah Magnus. Like something they mentioned early on in this show that's actually really cool is that for some reason all of the portraits of the different CEOs have the same eyes. They're like, there's always something about the eyes.
Oh.
It's really weird, and it's like thrown in and then never talked about again until this moment. It's very cool. So Elias Bouchard is not Elias Bouchard. He is Jonah Magnus.
The eyes release you from the Institute, but they're also what tie you to it.
Yep.
That's so fucking good.
Yep. So Peter's about to get fucking dunked on, and it's excellent. So this whole time Peter's like, I've been manipulating Martin, and he's like, my guy. Like, I have control over this dude, because I have control over this dude. And Martin's like, actually, I've been faking it the whole time, because I wanted you to keep your hands off of John. I served as the distraction. You thought you had your little fucking talons in me, so you didn't go after John. Fucking suck it, bitch.
They're such sims.
And they really are. It's really good. But because of this, Peter has lost a bet with Elias. Peter and Elias made a bet that if Peter could bring one of the Institute members into the Lonely of their own volition, he could have the Institute for himself. And so he loses. But because of that, Elias wins. And because Elias wins, Peter takes Martin into the Lonely, directly. Like, opens up a rift and shit into another dimension. And takes Martin in there. John, go get his ass, please. So John realizes what Peter is taking Martin away, and goes fucking sprinting down to go get him, because go short archivist king, go get your boyfriend, go do it, you got this. Meanwhile, up above, so the Institute's being attacked, and it looks like they're losing pretty bad. Daisy gives in. Daisy finally stops trying to stave off the hunt, and gives in entirely to defeat both Julia and Trevor. Hopefully that's her goal. And she makes Basira promise that after the fight is over, Basira will hunt her down and kill her, because she doesn't want to live like this. Hot wife. Hot, lovely werewolf wife. That's who Daisy is now.
Oh, wait, they're werewolves now?
Yeah, there's an implication with the hunt that if you give yourself into it fully, you become a different sort of creature.
Like that one episode early on.
Yeah, where obviously it's not a visual medium, so we never see her, but it's implied, she starts growling, and during the unknowing, when she's really into it and she's attacking Breakin' and Hope, they call her a stupid animal. So it's like there's an implication that she's transforming into something different.
Telling me there are furries in this now?
Yep. Welcome to Magnus Archives. We got furries.
There's a distinct increase in interest on that side.
I really would.
The original draft of The Unknowing was making a fursuit out of the gorilla skin.
Yeah. This'll be great, guys. All right. So anyway, John, go save your fucking boyfriend. The Magnus Archives is a gay romance. Well, so John gets to the Panopticon and he finds Peter and Martin gone, so he jumps into the Lonely after them because he's like, I don't want to leave Martin. I'm not doing that. Fuck that noise. And so he finds Martin is completely out of it. Like he's like, I want to be alone. I want to be alone forever. John's like, no, you don't. And Peter's like, yes, he does, you fucking bitch. And John turns around and he's like, you're the bitch, and vaporizes him.
Wait, how?
Basically, the situation is Peter's whole deal. The whole deal with the lonely. The I and the lonely are very much at odds because the idea of the lonely is like you're alone and you're disillusioned and you're isolated and nothing is there to see you. John basically tears a statement out of Peter. He tears his entire life story. So now Peter is known, and John can find him, and John can now turn the power of the I on him, and because, like, Peter can't handle being seen. That's like the whole thing.
Okay.
He can't handle being seen, and it just fucking destroys him.
That's so good.
It's very good. And then he snaps Martin out of it. And they hug, and gay love can pierce through the veil of death and save the day. And all hail the fabric rustles. There's an ongoing joke in this franchise where show, where the showrunners talk about how much they hate kissing in audio mediums because it sounds really weird and gross usually. So it's a sort of it's unspoken thing that every time in the transcript something reads fabric rustles, it's people kissing.
Oh.
So they kiss in there and they hug and it's nice. And then they take them back out of the lonely, and it's very, very fucking sweet. It's one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. And it's really, really nice. So, Martin and John, they move to a safe house and they get to have a nice little cottagecore ending for the rest of their lives, right?
Oh no, this is season 4.
Right, that's what happens?
Oh no!
Did you think it would be that fucking easy?
I didn't! I really didn't!
No! Alright, this is genuinely a warning slide. I'm actually telling you, if you're interested in this at this point and you want to listen to it, don't listen to this lecture anymore. And that's literally for everybody viewing this as well. Literally, I am telling you, if you want to watch this, leave. Because the next thing that happens is some of the best showcase of foreshadowing and weaving a story together and hiding story beats in a story and then having it. It's such a good moment of like, you're listening to it, all the puzzle pieces connect at once, and you go, oh shit.
How long would one have to leave for?
I mean,
I'll call for you at
Alright,
that.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
because it's such an amazing moment. I literally don't want to rob anyone.
Ed, get the fuck out.
Get out, Ed!
Okay, are we
Recording.
good? Okay, so last chance. If you want to leave, go. I'm dead serious. I don't want to take this away from anybody.
I'd like you to get the fuck out of here.
Get out of my room!
Okay, fine. All right, here we go. So,
John.
we have John in the center here. So, there's a lot that's happened to John, right? So, he's been chosen as the archivist. So, he has that connection with the Eye. There's a few other things, like, he was burned by Jude Perry. That was a desolation. He, dealt with the guest for Mr. Spider when he was a kid. That's the web, so he's been connected to that. The Jane Prentice attack, that's the corruption.
Got worm scars.
Tyler has figured out what's going on. He traveled through Helen's doorway, so, he has that thing with the spiral. He's also, hung out with Michael a couple times. He was attacked by Not Sasha. And he also dealt with the unknowing, so, he's been connected to the stranger. Encounter with Night Crew. He got thrown into the void by Mike. That's the best. He entered the lonely to save Martin. Peter did that.
Oh.
And he tried to stop the Dark's ritual. So that's the Dark. He actually touched the star. He touched the part of the ritual that was the big deal.
SMH my head.
He entered the coffin, so
Yeah,
it was buried. He hung out in the coffin for a little bit. He had 2 ribs removed by Jared. So Oliver Banks talked to him, gave him advice, gave him that way of getting out of the coma. So that's the end. And he was stabbed by Melanie, who was dealing with slaughter, so that counted as a bit of slaughter stuff. And he was nearly killed by Daisy, which was the hunt. And that's all.
What about the end of the world?
That's all 14 entities. That's odd, right?
Yeah.
Is he like the Avatar, bro?
He enters the Avatar state. He has control over all fear.
What?
So here's the statement where, remember how we talked about the dark ritual and how it just kind of sputtered out on its own? And that's really weird. It's because, and you know how I mentioned earlier how like all of the entities, they're separate, but they're connected. They're like so deeply intertwined in that way. The reason none of the rituals have worked is because they've been too focused on one. You can't pull in one on its own. It just doesn't work. It clashes with something else because they're so deeply interconnected. So Jonah has had a theory for years where if there was one person who was connected to all of the entities at the same time, that person would have the ability to pull them all through at once.
Why would Jonah want that?
Because Jonah wants to be the king of a ruined world.
He's just a bitch.
He's just a bitch. Jonah Magnus is a fucking idiot. And because, little fact, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but you know how like John needs statements to like live? Once he starts reading a statement, he cannot physically stop himself. Which means Jonah put in the ritual to pull all the fears through within this statement. Which means John cannot stop himself. It's time for the apocalypse. It's such a cool reveal, and I can never I'll never get over it for as long as I live, because like they figure out, he's like, you've been touched by all the fears, and you're like, what? No, he hasn't. And then you like go back all the little moments where John like has come in contact.
That went right over.
Because it's played. You don't. Because they don't make a big deal out of it. It's just like, yeah, you've been stabbed by Melanie while she was dealing with the slaughter. Whatever, you've been dealing with a lot of shit recently. So, like, you don't notice that they're all accumulating until Jonah points it out.
Shout out to you as a lecturer for going over each moment and calling attention to it without making the reveal obvious.
That's why I did it like that. In my original draft, I forgot to put in guest for Mr. Spider.
Congratulations.
Yay, I did it!
Congratulations.
In my original draft, I forgot to put in guest for Mr. Spider, and this morning I frantically went back. I was like, shit! I have to talk about guest for Mr. Spider because it's important. So, that ends season 4. And the special Jesus Christ.
That's season 4?
That's season 4.
How is there more?
There's an episode called Left Hanging. I think it's kind of fucked up. It's a Vast related episode where 2 people get stuck in one of those things in a void for like a really long time, and then like something's crawling on the roof. And then it disappears, and they just keep going. It's not
like Frozen.
Yeah, it's not.
Not the Disney Frozen, the movie, the horror movie.
Okay, yeah.
Where they're stuck on a chairlift.
It's not like an episode that a lot of
I've
people
seen
like
that
talk
one.
about, but I just think it's creepy personally. It's not a good one for me. Season 5. Welcome to the apocalypse. You can tell Ed he can come back now, by the way.
Edward! Orgy!
He's gonna walk into season 5. Welcome to the apocalypse.
Tyler was like dick level with my hand. I was scared.
Ed,
Oh, what's up?
we covered the big spoiler part. You can come back.
Yeah, I'm free.
We're still spoiling season 5, so if you don't want to come back, but like the big thing that you couldn't know about is done.
Okay, I'm fine. Cause
Alright, cool.
You got off of this, the camera's not here.
I know. I'm just talking about in general.
Okay.
Whatever. You can hear him straining and trying to stop himself, and it's not working.
When they're reviewing,
It's
I'm
so
just
cool.
like, John, you stupid bitch.
Yeah.
Stupid. You should have been more responsive. Any mature adult.
Is that
Like,
for
you
that?
stupid fucking
I don't know.
The apocalypse started while you were gone.
oh, cool.
All of the entities have been brought through at once.
Hey, let's go.
And the apocalypse has started. But the eye rules over them all. So like what August was talking about earlier about how whichever one goes through, that's the one that's kind of a ruler. So the eye rules over the whole domain. All the fears are here.
Because Jonah is the Eye's bitch! Ah!
You get it! So, welcome to the apocalypse. So John is sad. John is very sad. He's very upset about what has happened. He literally spends 2 episodes just wallowing in a cabin of sadness because he's really upset and listening to old tapes about like him and his friends because he's all very sad that the world has ended. Until he decides, you know what, I want to roundhouse kick Jonah Magnus in the head and see if that
Martin is
stops
there.
everything.
Martin
And Martin says, fuck yes. fuck yes, let's do it. Martin suddenly is ready and willing to fucking stab Jonah Magnus in the fucking head, and it's great. We call him Martin K. Violence Blackwood in this season because he's just so fucking ready to go ham on everything he sees, and it's amazing. He's sick of being traumatized. He wants to deliver some trauma, and I think he deserves it. So, we have to make the trip from the safe house all the way to the Panopticon. Yeah, because that part earlier I joked about, oh, they get to live in a safe house and live their cottagecore life. That actually does happen for a little bit. Like, they move out to a cottage, but now they have to go back to the Panopticon. And it's going to take a long trip.
Wait, why do they have to go back to the Panopticon?
Because they have to, that's where Jonah is. Jonah is at the core of the Panopticon. He's the core of everything.
The world has been metaphysically restructured so that it is centered around Jonah as the eye, and so like it's that idea of the Panopticon, but it's like literally everywhere.
Wherever you are in the world, you can see the Panopticon, and you know it's watching you.
There's a tower,
no matter how far
horizon.
away it is.
Yeah.
But,
which is really
like,
cool.
the apocalypse has happened. Like, what can you do at this point?
They're trying to end it. They want to find a way to end it.
The world has become like a factory for creating fear.
Yeah.
Basically.
I know how to end it. I figured it out.
Okay. But, so we have to get there. But because, like you said, the world has been metaphysically restructured, it might take a bit longer than we expect. So the first half of the season is basically like going through and taking statements and finding all the weird and scary and horrible shit that the apocalypse has for people to deal with. So, it's time...
Gravity Falls series finale.
Literally. It's
Supernatural if they had the balls to actually do an apocalypse season.
Literally.
Fire Force.
It's time for the Apocalypse Road Trip, featuring these fun pit stops. We have the horrors of war. We have Tori in a doorway. That's Helen. We have a pandemic. Wow, wonder what that would be like. Alright, guys. Literally, they do it.
We're gonna get demonetized.
The final season was coming out during the pandemic, and so they would have a disclaimer at the beginning of the episodes, like if this is too similar to real life, please.
Yeah. I think actually the one about the pandemic came out before.
Ooh.
Which is like very, oh no.
Some Simpsons shit.
A really shitty circus. Not Sasha's there. John kills her, finally, which is great. Moral ambiguity. We also have unexpected phone calls. We have becoming a worm. We have homophobes tending bone gardens. We have puppet shows. We have falling, but for like a really, really long time. And kids.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there was the giant, the monster that's made out of human bodies, and they're all like stuck to each other, and so the monster will move as people are trying to escape from it, and it's literally
I don't remember that one.
You don't? It was the worst.
I remember the kids one. So
what's up with these kids?
Basically, the dark has all the kids because John talks to Mark, because at this point they've only seen adults, and he's like, do you think all the kids just fucking vaporized when the world stopped? No, they have a place, and all of these kids are being tortured by monsters in the dark that they cannot see.
Oh.
And like running away from it forever.
Watch the 5
Don't
minutes of
laugh!
Friends
Alright, so yeah, this is the Apocalypse Road Trip. We need to make a quick pit stop for Basira, because the apocalypse happened, nobody died in the apocalypse. Everybody's still out here, just dealing with their own shit. So they find Basira, and she's still hunting Daisy down, because Daisy asked her to kill her after everything happened. So she teams up with John and Martin for a little bit to do that. They find Daisy, and she is 0% human. She's, like, people, they don't say what she is in the actual podcast, but people basically draw her big dog. She's basically, at this point, big fucking scary dog that is going to kill you. And Basira puts a bullet through her skull. And finally kills Daisy. And this is a big deal because it's are they canonically dating? Or is it ambiguous?
I think it's ambiguous, but they're like...
They're very close.
Intimate.
They're
Deeply
very
intimate
close
with
throughout the
each
show.
other.
So the fact that this is how it is.
They're also very like, fuck off, John. We're not going to tell you about our fucking personal lives.
Yeah, which is like fair. But
is this the couple death that like you made in Sims after Magnus ended?
No.
Uh-oh.
I did not, but I did do that with one of them.
Uh-oh.
But, so, understandably, this fucks Basira up a little bit, and she's like, I need to go out on my own, and I need to figure out, like, I need time to process some shit. And Martin's like, we're in the apocalypse, you can't process anything. And John's like, shh, just let it go. So, that's one pit stop. The other pit stop, this weird fucking house. So, remember Mikayla Salesa, the dude who, like, sold all the weird shit? And the homophobic vase? He has this magical artifact that's this camera that basically blocks the eye's power. It blocks out the eye's power if you're in the vicinity of this camera. So he's used this camera to make this house a complete safe zone from the apocalypse. It's tranquil. It's nice there.
I stopped listening at this point.
Yeah, it's nice. It's got like
Why?
You can't tell. You can sleep here. Like in the regular world, humans can't sleep anymore, or else you don't have a need to, and time's all fucked up. In this world, in this house, time moves normally. People can sleep. People can eat. There's also Annabelle Cain's here. She's shown up a couple times before, but she hasn't been important until now, so I haven't mentioned her. She's an avatar of the web. She's a little spooky, and they're pretty sure she's gonna kill that guy at some point. However, it's not their problem, and also because John cannot live being cut off from the eye anymore because he is 100% eye at this point. He's big. We call him the Ceaseless Watcher's fun little boy. He's the eye's special little boy at this point. So being cut off of the eye in this place for too long makes him incredibly sick, deathly ill, and so they can't stay for too long. So they have to leave and get back on that apocalypse road. We got some more stops, guys. We've got a shitty hospital. We have actually people. That really sucks. We have ants. Lots and lots and lots of ants. I do want to point out the ants episode because the ants episode is really funny to me. The Magnus Archives is one of those shows where you have to remember every name you're ever told ever because they'll call back to it later. In this episode, they find a guy in the ants and John decides to save him. And he says, we have to save him. He's done so much for us. Literally, I was there when this episode came out, the entire fandom was like, I don't know who the fuck this is. So people had to go digging back into the episode to figure out who it was. He was an exterminator who helped out with some corruption stuff. But like, the entire fan base was like, I literally have no idea who the fuck this is. And it was really funny.
Was this written by like more amateur writers?
No, I don't know. I don't know how much writing experience Johnny Sims had before this, but he was the sole writer. He wrote this whole thing. We also have the justice system. That's pretty horrifying.
Oh,
no! Justice system here, and Martin has his own torture zone. He has his own place where people are tortured by him indirectly.
Why?
Oh.
Well, that's what I'm going to get into. This is how the apocalypse works. So, there are two kinds of people in the apocalypse now. You're either a watcher, or you're being watched. In phrases, in other words, you are either being tortured, or you are doing the torturing. There is no in between. You cannot be otherwise. Well, there are a few people who are otherwise, but we'll get to them later. So, Martin has his own... Because Martin is with John, he's not being tortured. He's protected by John because John is like the ultimate, hi, I'm the Antichrist. He's literally the Antichrist. So John is protecting Martin. So because Martin is not being tortured, he has to torture someone else. Like, it's how the world works now. So he has this little space, he has this space in the world that's like mostly aligned with the lonely, where people are stuck. And like, he kind of has to come to terms with that.
Do you get to choose which team you get to be on?
No. Not usually. Usually the avatars of the previous world, they're all watchers. Like, they're torturing other people. That's usually the case. It's like, if you had a lot of power and you enjoyed it in the first world, torturing people, you're probably a watcher here.
And so some people who just got promoted for being, like, they just have watcher tendencies, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you were a sucky person in the real world, you're being rewarded here, is basically the vibe.
Oh, it's like Christianity, but opposite.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's what's going on there. So what happens when you're the Antichrist? You have the power to turn that dynamic around.
Oh.
John, in this world, can turn a watcher into a watched and back again if he so desires. Which means, and most of the watchers, like we said, most of the watchers are like avatars who, and there are certain avatars who cannot handle having all of the eyes full power on them specifically. So when John switches them from watcher to watched, they get vaporized on the spot. Like they can't handle it. They just cease to be. This is what he does with not Sasha. This is what he does with a couple other people. He does it to Helen as well. Helen has been killed by John. It's like a whole big
Martin
thing.
is also like, I feel like maybe we should be using these powers a little more ethically.
Well, actually, Martin wants him to go killing avatars. He also vaporizes Jude Perry.
Yes.
He vaporizes not Sasha, he vaporizes Jude Perry. Martin is like gung-ho for killing some people, but then he's also like, he's like mixed. He's a mixed bag. So that's what John can do. So, when in doubt, start a gay cult. So, like we mentioned before, we're going to get to this. There's watchers and watch, but what about the people who are completely cut off from the entities? Georgie has no fear. And Melanie, since she's been cut off from the Eye, who is the overseeing ruler, also is untouched by the apocalypse. So the two of them are just walking through the apocalypse untouched. And they decide to use this power to save other people. Unfortunate side note, these people now think they're like the holy prophets of the world and have like kind of become a cult dedicated to them. Neither Georgie nor Melanie is very thrilled about this. But John and Martin, when they finally get to London, or what's left of London at least, close to the Panopticon, they find them in the tunnels. They're hiding in the tunnels because the tunnels, conveniently, block out all the fears as well. There's something wacky about the tunnels.
There's been an architecture guy.
Yeah.
He's got
Robert fucking Smirk. We don't know what's... He's just weird.
Building shit.
Yeah, so the tunnels are like a safe zone. The tunnels are a safe zone, and the safe people are in there. And they're still connected to the Panopticon, however. So Melanie and Georgie agree to help John and Martin get to the top of the Panopticon. What do they find at the top of the Panopticon? This fucking loser! I fucking hate this. So how's Jonah Magnus doing? How's it going? Well, Jonah Magnus is now a glorified piñata. He's hanging from the ceiling, being the Eye's pupil. He serves as the Eye's pupil, which basically means his selective omnipotence has become total omnipotence. He's seeing everything all the time that's going on.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. And it's kind of fucking him up a little bit. And it's so funny because, like, John was like, oh no, he won. While the entire fandom was like, look at this fucking loser. Throw rocks at him. It's funny. Because, you know, he wanted to, this is what he wanted. Kind of, I guess. So, Elias is at the center of the Eye. Now, well, Jonah is at the center of the Eye. So, if you're anything like me, the minute you heard that, the very second you heard that Jonah Magnus has been body swapping this whole time, you're thinking, what happened to the original Elias Bouchard? What happened to that guy? Because he existed before Jonah Magnus took over, and we also have little hints that he was like a pothead in college. So like, what's going on with that guy? Episode 193 is Johnny Sims' personal gift to me. I think this is my personal gift. We get an episode where John he drags a statement out of Elias Bouchard's body. And we get to know the actual Elias who existed before Jonah. He was a trust fund kid who was a total stoner and also had a traumatic experience with, I think it was the Eye. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was the Eye, where his college roommate called Alan was being persistently watched and ended up tearing out his own eyes and killing himself through this. So Elias went to the Magnus Institute to get a job, and Jonah basically zeroed in on him almost instantly because he was like super old at the time, is the idea. And so basically Elias was in the wrong place at the wrong time and got his eyes scooped. and John makes it very clear, Elias Bouchard has been dead for years at this point. So that's Elias.
Did he swap bodies with the old man and die of old age?
He swapped. Yeah, every time, like, it's implied that he stays with the body he's in until it's about to, like, die on its own. And then he swaps to a new guy.
Elias just died, though.
Yeah.
Elias didn't get put into the old...
Oh, yeah, Elias didn't get put into the new body.
Got it, okay.
They never really say what happened, just that he died. Like, the process killed him. So, yeah, but he's my favorite boy. I pick the worst favorite characters because he's here for one episode and never returns. I did a cosplay of him. I have a weed pattern tie at my house because I did a cosplay of him specifically. So, yeah, 193 is my favorite episode and is Johnny Sims' personal gift to me. Thanks, Johnny. I appreciate the boy. It was funny because, like, 2 weeks before this episode came out, I was making jokes about, like, I want a original Elias episode. I don't know if I'll get one.
I remember you telling us about this in the Discord.
Yeah, I was so fucking excited when it happened. I, like, freaked the fuck out. It was great. Anyway, back on track. So, we can't just shank Jonah Magnus. As much as we might like to just fucking kill him. The thing about Jonah Magnus is as he serves as the pupil, he's like the eye's main connector. So if he dies, someone has to replace him. And that someone is gonna be John. So if we kill Jonah, John takes his place, is essentially the vibe. And Martin understandably isn't thrilled by that concept. He's like, I don't want my boyfriend to be a god of fear and horror and destroying the universe. Like, that kind of sucks. I don't want it. And John thinks, well, I could maybe slow it down. I could stop the suffering maybe if I was in the position. I don't want to do this, but maybe it's our best option. Boys are fighting. The boys are fighting. It sucks for everyone involved. And John and Martin decide to split apart for a little bit. They, like, walk away from each... Well, Martin kind of stomps away for a little bit. And they're both, like, cooling down. That proves to be a mistake. My boys. Annabelle! Welcome back, Annabelle. Like I said, Annabelle Kane is a manipulative bitch because she works for the web. And the whole purpose of the web is manipulation and lies. Something that starts with T, and John goes, Tombs! And he goes, you cheated! You can know that! He's like, I did not cheat! And he's like, alright, then you go. And John goes, okay, I spy with my little eye everything. And they both start laughing. And it's very sweet, and it's like one of the last moments they're happy in the entire show.
There's also a running gag where Martin is like, do we have to go through this, like, unique little pocket of hell again? Like, do we have to go through every single one?
And John's like, yeah.
John's like, it's a spiritual journey, not a physical one, Martin.
Alright, ready to go.
Alright, so, John goes back to apologize to Martin. He's gone. He's just fucking gone.
Baby.
He's been kidnapped by Annabelle Kane. Annabelle Kane has killed Mikayla Salesa, taken the camera, and left for herself.
Love has laws.
And because of the camera, John can't figure out what Martin...
This is their fault, because they knew this was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is some Spider-Man shit.
John can't figure out where Martin is, so he runs off to go get Martin back. He runs off to go find him, because he's like, obviously. And he also finds Basira on the way. So Basira is back with the crew in this one, because she's ready to go. She's like, I've had my time. This still sucks, but I can deal with this now. So Basira's here. Martin has actually not been kidnapped. Martin has left of his own free will. Is the situation. Annabelle has promised him a different way out that does not involve losing John. See, she wants to be able to talk to John about this plan, though. She's like, John is the one I want to talk to. Because John is the Antichrist. John's the one who can do shit. If you come with me, he'll come along after you, obviously, because you're both fucking simps. And then I can talk to him from there. So that's what she's doing with Martin. Also, she reveals that this was the original script before Johnny Sims decided to lean all in with Martin and John being a thing. Annabelle's original plan to get to John was going to be to manipulate Martin and turn him completely into the web. and destroy him, which would in turn destroy John. But she says, literally, Annabelle says, literally, your bond is too strong and too complicated for the web to take root, meaning John and Martin's gay love was so strong, not even the web could do something about it, which I think is fucking amazing and also is great for an asexual character.
Love web.
An asexual character can have a relationship so strong it fucks with the plans of an elder spider god, and I think that's fucking amazing.
That's good.
So, she also reveals one tiny little tidbit. You know the tapes we've been listening to the whole time? You would assume those were connected to the Eye, right? I mean, they're at the Institute, they're run by John, you know? The tapes must be from the Eye, right? No. The tapes have been the web this whole time, listening to everything. This season's logo makes me so fucking angry. It was sitting in front of us this whole time. That is a cassette tape made of spider webs. I was so mad when this episode came out and I figured out what that was. It's been sitting in front of us the whole goddamn time.
What is the significance of that?
Well,
because the web owns the tapes.
Yeah, the web owns
Yeah, but
the
like,
tapes.
so the web owning the tapes, what does that mean for
It means
the
that,
world?
It means that the god of illusions and lies has been the one listening to everything that's been happening so far. It hasn't been the Eye, it's been the web, learning and figuring things out. So, that's why it's a big deal. But it's just, that logo makes me so fucking mad. It's genius. It's foreshadowing genius, and I'm so angry. It's brilliant. Alright, so, Annabelle has a plan-a-bill. Which is the worst sentence I've ever typed. I think I put it in the Discord.
Oh, yeah.
I put that in the Discord the night I wrote it because I was like, I need to stop making these things past 1 a.m. So, John shows up and he's understandably miffed that, like, you kidnapped my boyfriend, can I have him back, please? Annabelle, so she has a plan. The web is a bit smarter than all the entities because it's an entity that focuses on lying and manipulation, so it has to be a bit smarter. So it's figured out that if the entities stay in this world and continue their reign of fear and rampage, eventually they're gonna kill all the humans. And once the humans are gone, there's nothing. They'll have nothing left to subside on, because it's not like anybody's having babies in this situation. Like, there's no replenishing of humans, they're all just dying.
What about the animals? Like, the flesh will be okay.
No, there are zones in the apocalypse specifically for animals as well. We know this because the Admiral is fine, he's torturing rats in another dimension, in another zone of the apocalypse. That's what the Admiral's doing. So, there are zones for the animals as well. So the web has figured out if they keep going on this path, they're going to destroy themselves. So the web wants out. And the web has made a plan to leave. Annabelle says, if they kill the pupil of the Eye, and also destroy the panopticon that the Eye is located in at the same time, it'll cause a chain effect, and the tapes will act as a sort of anchor and drag all the fears out of this universe and into a different one.
About to take a screenshot.
About to take a screenshot, quite literally. So, the problem with this, however, is that you're sending them to another dimension. You're going to kill another dimension doing this.
Oh well.
You're sending them to another dimension. They'll be in the same state as they were when this world started, like at the edges. But like, there's no telling that like they couldn't do this again and be back in an apocalypse again. Like, you were potentially destroying another universe. So, your 3 options to save the world that now Basira, John, Martin, Georgie, and Melanie are all going to discuss, because they're the dream team. These are our 3 options to save the world. We have Annabelle's plan, which is to kill the pupil and destroy the panopticon at the same time. We have John's stupid plan, which is to just let him take over from the pupil, and maybe he could slow down the suffering of this universe and spare any other universe the potential problems of having the fears in it. Or we have, I don't know, man, just fucking leave it and see if it kills itself. That's literally something they bring up. It's like, well, we could just let it run its course and just see what happens.
I mean, is this apocalypse that bad?
This is such a cutting criticism of like late stage capitalism.
Yeah, it really is. So we can kill it and just let it run its course, see what it does. You chose option fun! The team comes together and figures, like, Annabelle's plan is probably the best. We need to save this universe. The other universe will be in the same situation we were at the beginning, where they're all on the edges. They might not even get an apocalypse. Like, this is the best option.
We'll just keep kicking these things back between universes like an infinite demonic soccer ball.
About the other universe?
John
Fuck them.
is fucking stupid. Here we go. John continues his pattern of being the biggest fucking dumbass in this entire show and decides, no. I'm the Antichrist. I make the rules.
Guys, I can't hear you. I'm already getting into the
Literally. So he waits until they're all, like, asleep or whatever. He goes early. He kills Jonah by himself and immediately takes on the power of the people.
No, but now they'll have to kill him to send it to the other universe because he's the.
SMH my head.
But their love will be too strong and John will never
No,
die.
John, you self-hating asshole.
So, yeah, by the way, Jonah Magnus' death, fucking visceral and amazing. literally before like John starts stabbing him and says, "This is for Tim, this is for Sasha, this is for Gertrude, this is for all of them." And Jonah says, "I don't want to die." And he says, "Neither did they." And fucking stabs him in the head, and it's amazing. It's the best shit ever. It almost made me forget what was happening and how it was a bad thing.
You become a watcher, but only for Jonah Magnus and Jurgen Leitner.
Yeah. All I wanted out of the series was to see Jonah Magnus get his head kicked in, and that's what I got, so I was good. So, John's the pupil now. The problem is, Martin knows him way too well. And we've got an issue. So, Martin sent Georgie, Melanie, and Basira to blow up the building early in the hopes that he could stall John long enough before he killed Jonah. But Martin gets there too late.
No.
So So
my lord.
John figures out what has to happen because Martin is refusing to leave. John at first tells him to just fucking go and leave, but Martin's like, "I'm not leaving you, bitch. I'm a simp. Do you not know? Have we not gone through 5 seasons of this?" So that's not gonna work. John's ace.
Oops.
But so John tells Martin to kill him, and at first Martin's like, "No, I don't want to kill you." And John says, "It's gonna be okay. Wherever we are, at least we'll be together this way." And so Martin stabs him in the back. Martin stabs him and kills him right as the building blows up. And remember how I mentioned earlier about how they don't like kisses in this show? They just do fabric rustles. You get to hear their first and last kiss in this scene. It's very sweet.
Are you ruffling fabric?
As close as fabric I got.
I'm so proud of Martin.
Yeah, well, wait, we're not
Uh-oh.
done. So the world's okay again! The plan worked!
No.
The universe is saved!
No.
Well, no, we're actually.
Oh wait, we're real?
Yeah, actually. It worked. The fears are gone. They were pulled through by the tapes. The universe is saved. Melanie, George, and Basira are all okay. The Admiral's fine! The Admiral's doing great!
Fuck.
The Admiral's doing great. Martin and John's bodies are nowhere to be found. Neither of them can be found at all. Also, fun side note: they specifically mention Simon Fairchild is a Avatar of the Vast who's been kind of mentioned throughout the series. They specifically mention maybe it's a good thing we can't find them alive because remember what happened to Simon Fairchild? They beat the shit out of him when they found him because they were mad about what he did. So maybe it's a good thing. I love how they take time specifically to let everybody know. By the way, Simon Fairchild did not get out of this alive. I don't know how you feel about Simon, but he fucking died. And I need you all to know this. That's the vibe. So, hang on. If the fears are gone, and they're in another universe, where do they go? Where do they go? That's weird, right?
Hell.
Oh no, they're here.
This entire series have been the tapes coming over to us.
The prequel to
and warning
Human
us. The
Experience.
last thing we hear is Basira picks up the tape and she says, "Whoever's listening to this, I'm sorry, and good luck. And that's the end of the Magnus Archives! That's the end of the Magnus Archives. It's so fucking good. Please listen to it because this summary does not do it entirely justice. It's fucking amazing. Jonathan Sims is a great writer. Alexander Newell is a fantastic director. All the voice actors are incredible. It's really good.
Apparently he came out with a novel recently.
Yes, Jonathan Sims did. He came out with a horror novel called 13 Stories, which actually just became available in the US.
Nice.
So, Magnus Archives is fucking amazing. One of the best podcasts, one of the best stories I've ever
I don't
heard,
know why
so.
I assumed that he was American and just pretending to be British.
Well, it's an English company. They're all British. So, there we go. That's the Magnus Archives. That's my presentation for the night.
Shock University, everyone!
Shock University!
Oh. Hello. Go for Peter Lucas. Oh, hi. How's it going?
Yeah, hi. What did you do to my slides?
What? No, of course I didn't do... No, oh, come on. You know I don't do science things.
Yeah. See, that's interesting because I did the whole presentation and all of the slides were fine except for the one about you, which was mysteriously covered in clouds, obscuring all the information.
Oh my. That is unfortunate. Can I just ask? Were they nice clouds? You know, lovely, isolated, nimbocumulus. The sort that you think might be fog if you got close enough to them. The sort that just begins to wrap around you like a warm blanket made of vibes and loneliness. But mostly loneliness.
Look, Peter, if you didn't want to be perceived, maybe you should have thought about that before becoming the main antagonist of Season 4.
Rude. Not inaccurate or especially unfair, but still rude.
Okay, well, what should I have told them? Tell me that. What should I have told them instead of telling them about you?
Seems like a really unfair thing to tell people, but not an inaccurate one.
Okay, look, just stay in your void. I'm gonna tell people what I need to tell them, and you don't mess with my slides anymore. Cool?
Oh, come on. I didn't mess with all your slides. But, yeah, that's fair. I'm sorry. We cool? Did I do that right? Martin said that was a cool thing cool people say when they're cool with each other. There was something else. I wasn't paying attention. He was doing that thing where he talks. Martin, what was the other cool thing you said I should try? No, not slam poetry. No, not crochet. Don't have the knees. The other one. Never mind. It'll come back to him. Anyway, hope you're doing all right. And like I say.
Okay, I'm hanging up now. Bye. Avatars.